Boo! Welcome to the most frightening podcast on planet Earth. If you thought you were gonna not be scared watching this video game podcast, you've gone to the wrong place. Because we're going to the scariest discussions about games, TV shows, movies, and what the heck happened to Jacob's eye. All will be revealed in this episode of the DweeBros podcast. Welcome. Hope you guys are having a great night. You have reached the spooky version of our podcast. I'm
already scared.
So spooky. I mean, we're not making it out here alive or uninjured. We're here with Punished Jacob from the game Metal Gear Solid 5.
Nice to see you guys, as always.
We're here with Travis Terror and Zombie Zach.
What's happening?
What's going
Happy
on?
Halloween.
Happy Halloween, guys. Happy Halloween.
Can we get the elephant out of the room and talk about what's going on with the eye?
What's the elephant? Oh,
the elephant in the room. Now, what's the eye going on here?
For those of you guys who aren't watching, currently I am sitting here with a black eye.
I can't believe. I just want to preface this with I can't believe you wanted those Pokemon cards that bad that you got in a fight with that guy at Target for those.
Well,
so.
you know, the dude ticked me off. He had a little magnet out, and he was holding them up to the card packs trying to find those stupid X. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so no, if you guys
the console wars are real, and we have a vet
yeah.
here
All I'll say is he is a PlayStation fan through and through.
I am. I fought tooth and nail for one of those early copies. I ransacked the driver, got the truck, and everything.
Man.
I play a lot of sports. I love sports. It's ingrained in my DNA. I swear. If it was a thing, my kid's gonna come out wearing a Cowboys
You literally
jersey.
Bleed sports.
Yeah, literally.
You might become a sport.
Hey. So we actually we started playing flag football. You guys ever played flag football before?
Yes.
No.
Zach, you haven't?
I played like whatever was the elementary school that they had you do tag
You did
football.
whatever you had to do in gym.
Hey, in a
sure.
serious question, Zach, when was the last time you played a sport?
Outside of golf.
Yeah, outside of golf.
It literally was
a team physical.
Yeah.
It was literally 12th grade gym stuff.
No,
No, I didn't have
you
gym.
Were part of a team, not like gym. Part of a team, an actual team.
T-ball when I was 4 or 5.
Hey, wow.
That's why you drummed your own beat so much. You never had to be a 12-year-old pissed off kid on a team running laps.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, nothing's worse. And we're gonna get to the story real quick, but Travis can relate to this. Nothing's worse than when someone else on your team causes you to get punished.
Everybody take a lap.
And you're like,
Bozo,
you
just
mother. Hey,
yeah.
you start, and everybody's
didn't
talking
run
about
hard
this
enough.
idiot.
I think that's a good.
right.
I haven't done sports since T-ball, so I can't attest this. But that sounds like a good punishment, though. Because you want to kill that guy, and that guy will never do it again.
But generally that guy's a jack off, and he doesn't care what anybody thinks.
Exactly.
He's just a bozo. But my least favorite stuff with sports was always the conditioning tests and the stuff you do before the season. So there was one that we did for soccer called the snake run. So you get everybody on the team, 10 guys lined up in a line, and they jog, and you jog at a good pace, and the guy in the back sprints to the front, and you do that until they tell you to not do that anymore.
Oh man.
And it was the worst. And you'd always get some idiot up at the front running fast just to screw everybody else over because he sets the pace and you have to stay with him. But yeah, sports conditioning.
That was for me. When they would always make us do bear crawls. I don't know if you remember bear crawls, Travis.
No, I don't.
It's where you had to get on all fours and crawl 100 yards. So you had to crawl on all fours. It was called the bear crawl.
Jacob, you're an army man. But what happened to your eye?
So we played flag football on Monday nights, and we kicked off the season this Monday. Really excited. Went out there. It was 14-7, and we were driving. We were down by 7, about to go into the half, and I snapped the ball, and the guy came in. He was a lot smaller than me, so he was a lot quicker. But he was wearing like these square glasses, and he came running in, and I can block. Like, that's a lineman. I'm a lineman. So I'm sitting there, I'm in my little stance, I'm about to block him, and he comes running in head first, and his side of his glasses hit me right here in the eye. And I still have a cut right here, and all I remember is my head was ringing. I got up from the ground. We scored, so I was cool. But I get up and the ref's like, "Hey," and I apparently I had blood just pouring out of my face. What?
I was gonna say, when you're playing a physical sport, there's nothing more dangerous than an overmatched person that doesn't know how to do it safely, getting frustrated. Like if you were blocking me, I would probably be frustrated because you keep blocking me, right?
Yeah.
People who know what they're doing know you don't go head down with glasses at somebody.
No.
But when you're playing pickup ball, you get those people that don't really know their own strength, and they also don't really know proper technique, and they will just do stuff that you're not expecting, and people get hurt.
Yeah, and
that's what it sounds like happened here.
It just was one of those things. Yeah, I would completely agree with that statement because
at first right into you. It's nobody should do that. You should know that you go head up, and if you get beat, you get beat. You get beat.
Yeah,
right?
And there's also a bunch of different things that D linemen can do because they can swim over them, they can rip and pull, they can just smack their arms. But yeah. I think it was just brute strength. He was trying to use his strength against mine, and I mean I'm not the strongest person in the world, so I understand why. But I got up and I was just bleeding a lot, so I went off to the side of the field. I cleaned myself up, and I remember looking over, and one of the wives was like, "You don't look good," and I was like, "Just give me a Band-Aid." I put the Band-Aid on and went back out there. We ended up losing the game, but the next day I woke up, my face, just swollen. My eye was shut. And then today, now it's the swelling's gone down quite a bit, but I just have a really wicked, gnarly black eye. So it's one of those things where it's going to happen when you play sports.
But what you didn't tell the audience is that you were on the football team Sony.
Yeah.
And you were playing against Team Microsoft. And this kid that did this, he was an Xbox fan.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you're a PlayStation fan.
Yeah. Yep. So this was totally about
and
games.
So now there's a real beef, and that's
Can I give one little thing? And I've been thinking about this, and you guys, I want to know your input on this. You having the black eye reminded me of this, and I've been thinking about this lately because sports and stuff and football's back, and all these sports are coming back. I respect you going out there and you're playing and stuff. I have realized I have a something that got under my skin. And I don't know what it is. And maybe you guys can feel similar. Or maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't like... Sports are okay. Sports are just people can get into games and too into games or too into any fandom or whatever. Mm-hmm. Any fandom can be annoying. With sports, I feel like the people that are this guy's an idiot or this guy's a terrible quarterback or this guy's whatever, throwing out these opinions, those people have never played any sports in their whole life, and that irks me for some reason. You have the black eye, and it's you can tell me anything about football. Or Travis, you used to play some football and pick up football to where you. I don't know why that bothers me. I feel like you have to have some. I don't know, being in the game and stuff. I'm not saying that you can't have an opinion if you're watching a game, that person's not whatever. But there's something about being in it, and it's okay, you've walked the walk, or you know what physically this entails. But I just see people that, I get annoyed if people are I don't know, and never played the game.
I have an opinion on it. Okay. So here's my thought. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, right? You definitely... If you're going to get into the realm of critiquing people and things you don't do, which I do plenty of that. I'm a big football fan. I played football for 2 years, right? And I don't know a lot of things that people, when it's your full-time job, and stuff like that. I think you have to do it with a certain level of humility where you can have strong takes and have opinions, but you also have to have a certain degree of humility of I don't know everything. And that's something I get frustrated with, because if you follow me on Twitter, which some people here might, I tweet a lot about Bengals stuff, and sometimes people assume they know things when these guys, it's their full-time job to play in the NFL. They are at their job 60 hours a week. We see 3 hours of their week, and we make decisions on who's good or not good at things. But here's where I think you're a little bit, maybe I disagree a little bit, is a huge part of sports is you're doing things in a controlled environment that are repeated over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of people that don't play sports, but are strong in advanced statistics, analysis, things like that, that they have pretty strong opinions because analytically, like they can show, hey, in the last 136 games, this has been the result of this guy doing X. But I think you're complaining more about Bozo on Facebook saying, this guy sucks. Like, I don't know, but I don't know. To me, like you can have people who critique people in sports come from all different backgrounds. Some of them are guys that played. Some of them are guys that never played a day in their life. Like, I think that the conversation's more interesting the more different types of people you have, but as long as there's a base level of humility and not assuming you know it all. There are guys that say, don't listen to any statistics. It's a bunch of hogwash. Just watch tape. I think they're dumb. I think there's a lot you can learn from statistics. There's also guys who say, you can tell everything you need to know about a player from their stats and from computers and from advanced analytics. I also think that's dumb because there's a lot of situational things that result in the overall team result.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't measure grit.
Yeah, I have no skin in this game, but I was finding myself
that was getting under my skin. Something you saw, or
I guess it's people, and this is a far outlier. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody here or whatever. I guess social media I've seen. The equivalent would be, that guy on South Park that has the Frito chips all over his chest and stuff.
Sure.
Those people that have no that are not in the best of shape, having these extreme opinions like this person sucks and whatever. That for some reason gets under my skin because it's like you've never done this in your life. Like you couldn't understand what these people are going through. But what you said makes sense. Like the super
But I think we also sit here on this podcast and we're on episode 48 talking about what developers could be doing.
And I thought about that too. That was another thing in my head of like, I have never done this. I do that.
My opinion is anybody can have an opinion on anything as long as they're willing to admit they're wrong if they learn new things. Yeah. And also they don't be purists about this is the only way or that's the only way, or I don't like saying a guy sucks. And I critique things about the Bengals or about NFL stuff. But I try not to say a guy ever sucks because he is in the top 1% of what he does if he's playing in a certain league. Like,
not wrong.
He just is. You know what I mean? And someone pays the guy millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the thing that he does. So, no, I get it though.
Yeah, I'm just speaking on the
armchair quarter. They call it armchair quarterback. You sit there, and it's very easy to just sit back with your potato chips and your beer and say, this guy sucks. He never does anything.
That's what bothers me.
I tend to laugh that stuff off. I got family that are that way. I'll say, hey, did you see the game? They say, yeah, they should cut that one guy. He doesn't know anything. And I'm like, well, number one, like that sack the quarterback took, the protection was there. The quarterback didn't see the free runner, didn't check out of the play, didn't get the ball out of his hands. That's not really on the offensive line. That's on the quarterback. But Joe Schmo at home just sees the tackle getting turned around and assumes it's one guy's problem or another. So
I think
Jacob, you got a thought on that?
Yeah, I think honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know we're not a sports podcast, but I love talking about sports. It's just one of those things where it's hard to judge because I play a lot of football and I always call myself like a coach, even though I'm not a coach. But I'm not really that great at sports, but I like to tell like my opinion about sports. And sometimes I know what I'm talking about, sometimes I don't. Like it's going to happen. But I agree with Travis 100%. There are times when people will assume they know better and they don't, and it's like, man, you got to really take a second step back and kind of understand that these guys are a whole other level than we are. Even the worst of college players are still a little bit better than us. And that's
all you got to do is get somebody that's sitting on Facebook complaining about players and say, hey, find a way to go to an NFL game and get close to the sideline. Just walk down to the lowest level and watch it. These dudes are massive and they are fast and they hit like a freaking truck on every play.
There's a reason why there's
it's a totally different thing when you see it in person.
Yeah. Well, that's all for sports talk for now. Until 20 minutes
Zach's
from now.
like, okay, we'll have sports talk again in 1 year.
Yes, I have entertained your sports. Never again. Hey, no more black eyes either.
You realize something when you watch that Michael Jordan documentary, which is the thing that I love about sports. And I don't watch tons and tons and tons of different sports and teams. I stick to 2 or 3 of my favorite team. The team building is the most fun part. And it's the same way it is on building an RPG team, right? You've talked about that because you find the right people for the right roles and you kind of build it out.
Yeah.
I was going to recommend a movie real quick.
Okay.
Just real fast.
A movie? You're a movie head now.
I'm not, but you need to watch Moneyball.
Moneyball?
I've never seen Moneyball. I should
Moneyball.
watch that.
I've heard of that. I was going to watch that. That came out a couple years ago.
Watch it. It's a really good movie. Even if you don't like baseball, it's still a decent movie.
Well, I want to get into, from sports, what is the next avenue you obviously will enter? As my room says, I have been red-pilled, officially.
Oh.
God.
I get into these things where, and this, I didn't do this on purpose this time, and I'm joking, everybody. Don't worry about my affiliations or whatever. I get into these things where I accidentally turn into, I go into the deep end on stuff, and I wasn't planning on this, but I got two funny combos back to back. I finished Deus Ex, which that game is hilariously red-pilled. That game is Red Pill, the video game. That game starts and it's like...
Explain what you mean by red pill.
What I mean by red pill, for those that don't know...
Because it can mean a lot of different things.
Yes. So, let's take it back to what does this term even mean? So, in the Matrix, Neo is, we're just going to go in the beginning of the movie... Morpheus says, hey, do you want to take the blue pill, go back? Nothing. You're none the wiser. Or do you take the red pill and see where the rabbit hole leads you? See where it goes. See where it goes. So there's people online that take the red pill and they're like woke. They're hyper woke. They know, okay, this is the truth. This is how the world works. This is, how relationships work, dating. There's a whole cycle of all this stuff.
There's a whole misogynist wing of the internet that calls himself.
And I am just talking.
You're not saying that.
I'm
you're
just
talking about conspiracies.
Yeah. So let me get into this. I'm just talking about conspiracy theory stuff. I'm just talking about how the government and world works. Deus Ex goes into that too. Not like every video game. I feel like plot is that government was behind this. This goes into hyper detail of like stuff that you would read on Reddit or anything. It's like there is one part when I cracked up because I've never seen a game go this level. It is crazy. I was talking to a bartender, like a random bartender, and I'm like, do you know about the triads? Like there's all these little gangs and all this like world, like government stuff you start to go deeper and deeper into. And this bartender goes into, yes, back a century ago with the Rockefellers and all, and he goes into this long rant. This bartender, he's like an NPC, and like goes into this rant, and I'm having a great old time. This game is a classic. I finished it. There are so many different ways you can do a mission. You can go in this tunnel. You can unlock this.
It's an immersive sim.
If you have this skill built up, you can go in here, or you can can you breathe underwater a long time? You can go down this path and go deep into here and take out all these enemies. You don't have to even deal with this part of the level. One of the best I've ever seen of this type of game, of like immersive, just whatever. I am so glad I went back to it. Highly recommended. But I want to say, without going too deep, I just stumbled on this. For those that don't know, there is another podcast, second to us, I think, but the Joe Rogan podcast. But they had Alex Jones on there. So I went straight. I just beat Deus Ex, and then Alex Jones came back on again. I'm not affirming to any of these views of any of these people that come on Joe Rogan or whatever, but like Alex Jones is like King Red Pill. And he comes on there, all these conspiracies.
He's Deus Ex, like the person.
So he comes on there. I've just beat Deus Ex. I just listened to this Alex Jones thing, and I'm coming to this podcast to tell you I'm smarter than everybody else watching. I have ascended. I am Galaxy Brain. The Rockefellers, it was all the government.
I have always wanted to play Deus Ex. There was like way back when I first got my gaming PC, like 5 years ago. I had 3 games I really wanted to play. The original Half-Life, System Shock 2, and Deus Ex. And I just got busy and bought a bunch of other freaking games, but those were the first 3 games I bought, and I just never gotten back to 2 of those, which was I beat Half-Life. I started System Shock 2 but didn't finish it. I want to go back to that, and then I never started Deus Ex.
Yeah, Deus Ex is incredible, and I hope that Cyberpunk, I know it won't... That's the thing, I'm so close to Cyberpunk coming out. It's like, how's this going to compare? And it's like, I know that Cyberpunk... I have a feeling it won't touch the deep hyper mechanics of Deus Ex, but it's like the world's going to be like there's parts of Deus Ex where it's like a line of bushes down like this path and it's hyper just emptiness. Like it's not detailed whatsoever in a lot of areas, but the dialogue and the options and that is so drenched in choices and stuff that it's like there's going to be a little trade-off.
Put yourself in an interesting position.
Yeah.
There's going to be like you might come away a little disappointed in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I think that the detail in the world are going to make up for the loss and maybe some of the freedoms that I think there's still going to be freedoms because I mean if you look at The Witcher, I think there's going to be if we're comparing it to that, I'm hoping it's going to be at least comparable to that. I think I'll be okay, but so
did you play Deus Ex mouse and keyboard or did you play with the controller?
Mouse and keyboard.
Do you think you'll play Cyberpunk mouse and keyboard after playing Deus Ex mouse and keyboard?
Is it all first person Cyberpunk?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I didn't know if there was a third person option or whatever. Yeah, I might. We'll see. Well, the only reason I didn't is this game is so old. There's obviously no Xbox One
there's
controller
no
support.
Option.
So I like sitting back sometimes. We'll see. Maybe I'll take.
You mentioned Cyberpunk. We might as well just talk about the delay.
Yeah, it got delayed.
It got delayed.
This is crazy because that game went gold and it got delayed.
I don't know. I guess that never happens, but that also doesn't really mean anything to me. It means that there's
I think it kind of
physical the box and the disc is a license. And then you download the
my
game.
thing is just the fact that games are able to go gold prior to even coming out.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you mean?
Like I just that
gold means like
we're not gold like it's sold a lot. Not gold like going gold means that they have physical boxes with discs shipped to distributors.
Yeah, so the reason my bad. The reason I know the reason they delayed it is because of the multi-platform issues they're having.
Yeah. And it's not even the next gen, it's the current gen, which I believe, I mean, this game, let's be real, this was just come out back in April or May. Yeah. And then they delayed it, and they didn't know when the new consoles were coming out.
Yeah.
And then they found out the new consoles. I have a feeling they thought maybe those new consoles might have gotten delayed. I think that there was a possibility that those new consoles, depending on how bad COVID got, that Sony and Microsoft were willing to maybe delay to the spring. And then things got a lot, not better, but they stabilized.
As things are getting worse. Things got a lot better. Sounds like everybody else right now.
Stabilized enough to where they were like, okay, we can ship these consoles. That'll be fine. And nestled right in there is when they were going to ship this game. So then they realized, they said back in the summer, they were like, yeah, like it'll play on next-gen consoles, but it won't be optimized for next-gen consoles. And I think then people were like, what? And then now they came out and they said, it runs great on PC. It runs great on next-gen consoles. We still have to optimize for current-gen consoles.
They have to. And that's the thing they're like, I think that's a tricky thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so looking forward to it.
What that means to me is that even though it's only 3 weeks, the game was going to review poorly on the performance it was going to have.
Yeah.
Not because of the content of the game, but because of the performance. So, I mean, I get the delay. They've worked on the game for 7 years. If it's an extra 3 weeks,
you better get it right.
3 weeks. Now, can we talk about the people I have no sympathy for? I'm sorry, because this could be me, but like, you're forewarned. The people who are, I took off a week of work and you moved it. Like, who effing who? Like, I don't know. Like, I've done that before. I've taken off time for Destiny for a thing, and then it gets canceled and it gets pushed back. I just deal with it. I do something else with my time. Like, you just have to know, like, if you're taking off time for work
there's the possibility it might be delayed.
I have never taken off time for work for a game.
I've only done it one time. I just took off a week, and I was wanting to take off a week anyway because there's a new expansion coming out. But like, it's just gonna happen potentially, and you deal with it. I don't know. Like,
I'm trying to think
what is CD Projekt Red supposed to do? Like, oh no, Jared's vacation is right now. You know what? All of the team was supposed to be on vacation also, and now they're not. So like,
I don't think I've ever had that. Have you guys ever had that where you did set up a day off and it got
I was supposed to raid last spring or last summer or fall for Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. I was supposed to raid in the end of September.
Yeah.
They delayed the raid and the launch of it 2 weeks, and then it came out 2 days before I needed to leave for my wedding.
So that's when you moved your wedding.
Well, no, I just did it. I just did it anyway. But like
the wedding went gold. The wedding went gold, but you should have delayed it.
But there was a point where I was like, maybe I just don't do this raid. And Jess was like, just do the raid. It'll be fine. And it was fine. But like, I was very busy with a lot of things. And I didn't write tweet to Bungie. How could you do this to me? Like, it just is what it is. I mean, damn, they needed 2 weeks. I don't know. It's not about you. I don't know. I just don't get that. People lose it. Writing death threats. People wrote death threats to Cyberpunk. That's part of this story is the CEO had to come out and say, please stop writing death threats to our people. Like, they're not happy about the delay. They didn't know.
It's Halloween. People are getting possessed by, phantoms and stuff. So
I don't think that's okay. Obviously, we all think that's the case. I just think it's one of those things where, like, people have to understand that these games are getting harder and harder to make. And, like, this stuff's going to happen. Like, stop. I understand the hype, but stop anticipating it to be like perfect.
I think COVID stuff probably fricked with them, like you said, but also they got. I mean, look at Witcher 3 is still selling amazing. It's like we want this to be 10 out of 10 right at the gate. Like they have
a certain level of quality.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad that they can do a micro bump like that. Like, I feel like I don't see a lot of like 3-week delays on games. You see like 4 months. It's going to drop in a different quarter. Like, honestly, this isn't like, hey, we're bumping to 2021 or anything like that. Like, 3 weeks. Like, deal with it. It works for me. Great. Actually, I get to play my PS5 a little bit more and really soak in some of those games and not have to jump right into. I was going to be having to play Cyberpunk and that at my Demon Souls and stuff at the same time.
What's going to kill them though is if this game comes out and like it's a mess.
I can't. It would be delayed more than 3 weeks. I do not think
I
that is the case.
that.
I trust in CD Projekt Red.
And all the preview stuff's been great. It's just I really think it's an optimization.
I'm not freaking out about. I'm just speaking out.
If that were to happen.
That'd be crazy.
You're saying if that were to happen,
if that would happen, it'd be sad. It'd be really, really sad.
It'd be bad.
Like, people would be getting really angry.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it doesn't.
So, but Zach, is that all you've been playing, man?
I have been playing and streaming a game that has been making me sick to my stomach. Deadly Premonition 2. Can watch the streams, and I'll probably continue to be streaming that game. That game runs terribly, and I had heard about it before, but I did not know until I played it for myself how bad it can get. We're talking 20 frames per second at times.
That's disgusting.
It has gotten better. We were laughing. Travis came over, and we streamed some of it. But what was funny about it was we were looking on like, I think there's an update coming out, whatever. And people said, oh, the update's out. It's a lot better. And I was getting sick to my stomach still at 20 frames. I was like, this is good. This is way better.
Bad, yeah.
What makes it better?
So on the last stream, it was really funny. I did not expect, like, there are mechanics that just came out of nowhere. It went to nighttime. I had to wait till nighttime. It's kind of like Shenmue 3. You have to wait till certain things, like times of the day. And I did that. I smoked cigarettes like a la Metal Gear Solid. You have to smoke cigarettes. You wait till a certain time of the day. The world turns this color. So this is Deadly Premonition 2 viral marketing. And these demons come out of nowhere. They never explain it. And then when you go to shoot your gun, like a dart gun, your hand turns into like a shadow like monster hand. It's like, oh, this is good. And you start shooting with that. I'm having a blast. This game is a total, like, I don't know what's going to happen ever, the next second. I don't know what is going to happen to me. I explained on the stream that was the funnest part, is you don't know. Like, I can play Last of Us, and some stuff surprises me, but I know what I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like, I know the quality consistently is going to be there.
Yeah.
With Deadly Premonition 2, I walked into this voodoo shop, and I said, I don't know what this guy's going to sound like, and I don't know what's going to happen. And this voodoo shop guy went, this is what you need. And he pulled out a little tiny alligator with a top hat and a cane on. And I said, did anyone see that? Like, when I was streaming, like, did anyone see that was going to be, you know what I mean? Like, that fun stuff is why I love it. So I will definitely be beating this game, and I love where it's going, just like the first one. So
that's awesome.
How many hours have you played it so far?
Probably 5 or 6.
Gotcha.
Not
those
much.
games are cool. They're like 20 hours. So you got to really be like ready for the entire ride.
Yeah, but that's all I've been playing is those 2 games. But
yeah, I had a fun time watching you play that.
Cool.
Well, Jake, I think that there's a couple games both you and I have been checking out.
Dude, I
looks like some spooky games.
Talk about Phasmophobia a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's gonna be a funny little game. Do you want to start? You want me to?
You start.
All right. So Phasmophobia. How do I explain this that makes sense? Okay, so Dead by Daylight. Some people say it's like a polished turd. Where some people like the look of it, but sometimes it just smells bad and doesn't look good. It's still like that. But I love it.
I would call that a polished turd.
It's a polished turd. It's 100% a polished turd. But it's my polished turd. But when you look at like Phasmophobia, once again, a very interesting and cool concept. It's a ghost hunting game. So they plop you and your friends into a truck. You buy a bunch of ghost hunting equipment, and you try to find out what ghost you're dealing with. What my personal opinion, where the fun comes from, is the screwing with your like teammates. That's where I have fun with it, because like you try to like find out what kind of EMF you're reading. You try to find out what kind of noise the ghost is making. You can talk to the ghost and make the ghost freak out. But
I think that's the most fun part I've seen is you can actually it's using your mic, right?
Yeah,
your proximity mic, and it listens to everything you say, and it tells you at the beginning of the scenario. It's like a setup, like a scenario.
Yep.
And it tells you, like in your truck on the whiteboard, it says like the ghost's name, and it says some other things. So like if the name is like Michael Johnson, you can go in there and say, "Michael, do you hear us?"
Yeah.
Michael, do something in this room, and like the lights will flicker and stuff. But
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like, it is cool mechanics. Like if you say the name too much, the ghost will get angry and it'll stop trying to kill you. So there's other ways you can talk to the ghost without using its name.
You can annoy it and it won't kill you. Or it will kill you?
No, it will kill you.
Oh, yeah. Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like the game is very. Let me say this. The game is. I think it's in early access.
Yeah, I'd say it is.
I kept seeing gifs of people all the way back, their back.
Yeah.
Like you can like lean the animation.
When they die, and when people die, it does like the licorice thing a little bit, like in Oblivion, where they just like become contorted and like lay on the ground all goofy.
So
those are the most fun games, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this game, at least in my opinion, there is a VR mode that I have not tried out. I'm kind of scared to. Because the game is kind of scary. It loses its like.
Yeah, I'm not even touching this game. Zach, our good buddy Zach, explained the concept of like, oh yeah, you can speak, and it's like it does hauntings, it does weird things, and lights will flicker and whatever. And I was like, I'm out. I don't want to talk.
Go ahead, Travis.
To me, Phasmophobia is interesting because it's a game. I don't know anything that does quite what it does. It's a multiplayer game, first-person game where there's no guns. You're not shooting anything. You're not. It's kind of like Clue. Like in Clue, like you're trying to figure out what room, what item did the murder, and who did it. In this, you're trying to find like 3 clues about the ghost, and there are lots of different types of ghosts, like specters and demons, and basically whatever 3 pieces of evidence you find, if you can only find 1 piece, it narrows it down to like 5 of 15 options. If you can find 2 pieces, it narrows it down to like 3 of 15 options. And if you find all 3 pieces of evidence, like it is a demon or it is this. So the whole game is focused on you're taking in these different items and you're trying to find out what kind of ghost it is. And you're balancing that with like how angry is it? How crazy are we? Can we make an educated guess? And basically the better you get accurately of what it is and what the evidence is, and a couple other bonus objectives, you get cash, right? So but you're not fighting the ghost. Like, there's no way to fight. There's only one item that kind of controls what the ghost can do. It's a cross, and you can use it to try to block. But like, you're not fighting the ghost. And like, so in that way, I can't think of anything else that has really done that, right? So if this game came out like 5 years ago, I feel like this, and it is a big thing right now, but I feel like I would be so blown away of like, it uses proximity chat, and it's this and it's that. I don't know why. Like now. I don't know anything quite like it, but I feel like we've been getting lots of unique multiplayer games that it doesn't feel as mind-blowing as maybe it is. I don't know if that's a polished thing, but it's really cool. I like it. It is very, you can tell it's like a one-man job.
Yeah.
Like, let me not be the guy that like, is yelling at the sports player like Zach said. for one guy, this is a great job. Okay, I'm not dissing the guy. Like,
no,
he is doing a great job.
Yeah,
he's saying this guy sucks.
No,
for
I'm
a
not.
multiplayer game to be made by one guy, you can tell that like he grabbed the assets he could find.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing. Like the real meat of the game is that it's like that AI that's like, I think I know how it works, but maybe it's going to surprise me in that. So I think that the game's fun. I think it's like $20. It's best with friends. Do not play this game if you don't know anybody else is going to play.
You gotta have friends.
Yeah. And I would just say, I think that there maybe is a scalability issue to the game of, you know, you get a ranch and you get at this little house and there's a school. I think there's like a few different settings and the ghost has a different name every time. But like whether it's a demon or a ghost or a specter, you know, it's going to act a little differently, but ultimately, like if it catches you, it does the same thing.
Yeah.
It like puts its hands around you and then you go to like a dead world and then you walk around as a ghost. So like, it doesn't have, I'm waiting for there to be more curveballs with it. Once you've played 5, 6, 7 matches, you've kind of seen what can happen. And from there, the fun is more in the social mechanics of doing it with your friends, chatting, screwing around, like having fun. So it's a little bit of the fun you have is the fun you make.
Yep.
But
The fun you have is the fun you make. That's the tagline.
First couple hours when you don't know the walls of what the ghosts can do, it's scarier. Once you know kind of how it works, it kind of feels like going to work with your friends, which is fun.
It really
feels like okay, we're here to do a job. You grab this flashlight, I'll grab the smudge sticks, you grab this. And so if they don't keep finding ways to throw curveballs at the players, it will become commonplace. So that's kind of my feelings on it. I think it's a really cool game though.
It is. It's neat, and I think it's one of those pop fad games where it has good potential. It just depends on how much work gets put into it after it's released.
Yeah.
I do want to check out VR. I do think VR is an interesting concept. I think that game in VR would be absolutely horrifying just because of how good the sound quality of the ghosts are. Because the ghosts will make noises and they are freaking terrifying.
Yeah,
that's the most terrifying. That's the most terrifying part of the game.
Scariest thing that's happened to me in a game in a long time was me and you and Zach Campbell and I don't know who else was playing. Maybe it was Danny. We were all in a house. And like you go in the house and you go out of the house. You're going back and forth, grabbing stuff from your truck, coming back in. Sometimes you go with a friend, sometimes you go by yourself. But we were all leaving the house because this like sink turned on and dirty water was coming out of it. And we heard a squealing. And Jacob's like, there's a hunt. There's a hunt. So we're all leaving the house. But you walk like dreadfully slow in the game. Even when you're holding shift to sprint, it's like so. And I get why they do that. But I was last man. Like, so we're all like I'm on everybody's
single file line, dude.
Single file line though. Only one person go through the door at a time. And the last person in front of me goes through the door and I'm literally coming through the door and the door just cuts right through me and closes me. And the door's locked. I'm like, guys, open the door. They're like, Travis, it's locked. I can't help you. And I am just like running around. All the lights are off. I can't see anything. And I go in a corner and just look down. And then I just see these hands come around
God.
and then it grabs me. But, that was scary, but now that it's happened to me once, I will know when I'm in that scenario, okay, I'm going to die. Like, it won't scare me anymore. I'll know that this is going to happen.
You can actually fight it. Not fight it, but avoid it. I found out how.
Go into a corner. And
go into a corner in another room and hiding and turning your flashlight off. There's some cool mechanics, but again, the game has to be fleshed out a little bit more in order for it to be impactful.
I'd agree with that.
Cool.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think this is one I messed around with a little bit. You messed around with it a little bit.
Yeah. What do you think so far?
I think it was a long download.
It was a whole
it took my computer a full 24 hours to download that game and install.
Oh wow. Because you're downloading Earth.
Yeah, and I don't have it wired in, but like it was 178 gigs or something like that.
Can you just download little segments? Can you just download like?
No, nope.
Go ahead, Travis.
So it really impressive game in terms of just the tech behind it. God, I booted it up, and I will say I tried to do what you probably shouldn't do, I'm gonna set it up to fly from Cincinnati. Like, what do I know? I was gonna try to fly over, our hometown. I won't say what it was, but I start setting it up, and I go to take off, and I immediately nosedive into the Ohio River. Like I couldn't fly the plane. I was like, oh yeah, duh. Like this isn't Forza. This is a simulator. Like I need to know the actual rules.
I could fly. You suck. I'm actually really good at flying.
My other mistake.
I don't know why you can fly.
I was trying to play on keyboard because this is a game. The best way to play it is a flight stick, and I don't own one of those. But I was trying. I was like, I'll play with my keyboard. Whatever. Don't play this game on keyboard. That is rough.
Controller's the way to go.
So I plugged in my controller and I went through flight school, and I've done. There's like probably 16 flight school missions, and they take between 5 and 10 minutes. But I've done all but the last 3. But I've learned like. I know the speed I need to throttle to. I know the angle I need to set the horizon to. I know I just learned how to land. So I know if I'm going to land, I want to drop it about 4 inches below the horizon. I want to throttle down to 55 knots. And then once I, get close to the bottom, I level it out and put my back wheels on but like, it's fun. Like it's rewarding. I always was scared of simulator games of like, oh, they won't be fun. It's very fun. It feels like you're flying a plane, and you feel the weight of the plane when you turn, and it's really cool. And it's on Game Pass, so like I have access.
Do you feel like you could fly a plane after doing this?
No. In fact, it makes you realize. I think.
Go ahead.
It's interesting. Like it makes me realize I shouldn't be flying a plane.
Yep.
Which I'm not trying to fly a plane, but it also it kind of demystifies a little bit of what is happening when someone's flying a plane. Makes me more comfortable probably flying in planes, seeing like, okay, like they have these rules. And if you follow the rules, like everything's fine, and things can happen that make it harder to follow the rules. But, it's interesting. It really is. I know a little bit more like in a game sense, and they make it very easy to see like where the throttle is.
But if it's a simulator, that's how you fly a plane, so you could get a plane off the ground.
I could get in a plane and point at things, but every plane's different, just like every car is different. Like I've flown one plane in one training mission, right? Like, but what's cool is it keeps track of your flight hours. It keeps track of how many landings and how many takeoffs you do. It keeps all these advanced stats, so it's like your pilot, record, and like it tells you how many crashes you've had and stuff like that.
The only thing I've seen from that game that I don't like, I think all that stuff's cool. I saw when you crash, it just says a screen you've crashed, right? Correct?
Yeah, they don't have like a.
I want to see that plane explode. If it's a simulator, I want to see what that plane explode looks like.
Well, I think you could turn it on to where that screen doesn't happen, but where the plane just looks like a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, it will show something?
I get that. Yeah,
I want it to explode, though. I want it to explode.
It doesn't.
It's simulation.
So, well, I get that. I think at the same time, like, if it was meant to be a pure simulation, it's more trying to simulate the experience of being a good pilot.
Yeah, not a bad one.
Yeah. Also, like, I play in first person, so like.
But I feel like I want to see my plane explode. Like that has to be like Demon Souls. You've lost your plane. You didn't make it to the bonfire.
That would be cool, I think.
Somebody will mod it.
I think in a post 9/11 world, they're just trying to like not have the whole plane crashing.
9/11 run crashing planes forever. They really did. Can't do it anymore.
Real quick, I do want to say, Travis, graphically, that game is absolutely stunning.
It is. I will say I need to try. I've only done like the test flights, and then I flew one time at night in Ohio. That game, more than any other game, pushes my computer.
Really?
Like 40 frames a second on max settings or whatever settings at 1440p. So it pushes, dude. Like my card, I think that 82 Celsius is the hottest your card can get, and then it will stop performance. It will throttle performance to keep it from getting hotter than that. And that's when you overclock. You say, hey, go up above 82 degrees, go to 90 degrees, because you can go higher safely, but it's riskier, right?
Yeah.
My card, I pulled up Specky while I was playing it, 82 as soon as I start the game, and it stays at 82. So like, I think my computer could probably do 60 at 1440 if like I overclocked, but I don't know. I don't really mess with that typically. So
I hit 60, but it definitely throttles. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I have times where I struggle. But it just depends. I do think the game looks amazing, especially when I sent you guys the picture. I flew through the storm. I was just like, that's insane. Like,
well, the thing that makes me want to play it is now my last part of the training is doing a full flight myself. Take off, fly 15 minutes and land. So I'm going to do that. And then once I do that, they have all these like guided tours that are on there, and there's a guided tour of the volcanoes of Japan.
Ooh.
And like you fly, and they talk about the volcano. It's like doing a museum exhibit, but you're flying the plane and you're flying over them.
That's
so
cool.
I want to do that because it looks beautiful, and they've got all these different things like that. Like you can fly over, different historical sites, and they'll explain things or talk about these monuments and stuff. So it's cool game. It's, to me, I mean, it's on Game Pass, so it's only costing me the amount of space it takes up on a hard drive. And maybe it's not, maybe it's 128. I don't know. It was over 100, and it was a long freaking time.
It's a long download. It is for sure a long download. Well, let me talk through a couple games I've been playing for you guys. I finally booted up Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, nice.
For the PC.
On PC?
On PC. And runs beautifully.
Oh, good. Maybe
they
patched it.
They patched it?
It had issues early on, but
they patched it. You could see the Steam trend line was this, and it's this, and then now it's all up, baby.
Nice.
It's a great game. Are you liking it?
Yeah, I am. I'm about 5 hours in. The world's starting to open up a little bit. I'm making fire arrows and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really cool. I got the traps. I'm learning how to like.
You passed all like the intro stuff, like the passaging or whatever, the run.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do the passaging.
Okay, so whatever it's called, where you do the run.
I spent more time in the world just doing side missions than the main story. That's how much I'm like really enjoying it. I do learn that you can bite off too much if you're not careful, which is fair. I think that's a fair assumption of the game.
I mean, getting in like fights you can't handle.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Well, you're still really early too, or is it the proving? So you have not read the proving yet, correct?
No.
So you're still very early game, and you're still very early equipment. And
and I've only put 5 hours into the game. That sounds crazy. But I got the slingshot. I have the stuff that allows me to lay down like line traps, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I feel very comfortable. It's just to the point now where it's like, okay, what can I do now? I need to go do the story. So I'm starting to get there. I just haven't picked it back up, but I got that. It runs great. I'm very excited to play it. I just need to sit down and get more time to do it.
Is this the first Sony? Because is Guerrilla under Sony, right?
It's published by Sony Entertainment.
I think that they're owned. Guerrilla's
owned by Sony.
They did Killzone.
Sony published it.
Yeah. So is this their first like foray into PC stuff? Like, because I think.
Oh yeah.
This is their first one, right?
First PC game, yeah.
Because Death Stranding, Kojima's on his. Well, that was kind of helped by Sony, but.
So yeah, it's interesting. Death Stranding is an independent company. They're not owned by Sony. Yeah. Sony did give them some capital like early on to get their office space going and stuff, and I think they gave them some funding for Death Stranding, but Kojima retained all rights to Death Stranding to release it other places after a certain amount of time. So, but he started from the same engine Horizon's on. Yeah. But then he built a bunch of other stuff on that engine. So Death Stranding performed great on PC. And then I think PlayStation was like, okay, let's put Horizon 1 on PC. That way people will like it. And then when Horizon 2 comes out on PlayStation, they'll come buy PlayStation. I think that's their strategy. Yeah. But Horizon did not run very well on PC originally. People like environment would run at high frames, and then people would be locked at 30, and there was weird facial things. But it sounds like they fixed it all. So
yeah, so you even go to Steam and see their chart of how they do the recommendations and the reviews. It's definitely.
I'm glad you're checking that out. The more I've reflected this generation, I love that game. And I hung out with Sam, my buddy Sam, like 2 weeks ago because he's not a console gamer. But I brought my PS4 Pro over to his house, and he's like, of all the Sony exclusives, which one should I check out? And I showed him like 4 or 5, and he picked that one. Yeah. And we hung out and got Chinese food and hung out for 6 hours. And he played the first 6 hours of that game, and I just hung out with him and ate the food and watched. And I literally was just having a blast watching him play it, going back through the story. It's really well paced. There's a couple nitpicks about the game, but
I don't have any major complaints. Honestly, I love it. Honestly, I thought the third-person mouse and keyboard. I'm not a huge fan of third-person mouse and keyboard, but I love the controls on a computer. I'll tell you that right now. Mouse and keyboard is amazing to play with it, just because of how precise your shots need to be. I feel like I'm in way more control controlling
that makes
way.
sense. It was kind of hard playing that game on PS4 at times, just because it gets so frantic and you have to shoot a bow and arrow into like a crazy machine that's like flipping all over the place.
And I'm sitting there, and don't get me wrong, I'm doing some cool stuff with like the jumping mechanics and slowing down time to get the perfect shots and the sliding around and shooting while I'm sliding. Honestly, I'm really excited to get into it. I just haven't had time. So hopefully you can hear more about it later on. Couple other games I've played. I have played the crap out of Among Us, guys.
Every time I get on my computer, it's like Jacob's playing Among Us. Jacob's playing Among Us.
That game is creeping slowly to 100 hours, which is mind blowing to me because I just love. I've learned.
That's where you can get time to play some more Horizon. You said you don't have no time.
Yeah, but see, that's where like. I have a group of friends, actually a large community. I have a Discord channel that's grown to 24 people already, because we have all been hopping on playing. And every night I'll have a group of friends that say, you want to play? You want to play? And I'm like, yeah, why not? And I've learned a lot of things about myself about that game just because of my ability to convince people that I'm right even when I'm wrong.
It's just about lying, right? It's just about like deceiving.
Sometimes it's even like someone could be I think someone's the imposter, and I convince them that they're imposter, and I could be completely wrong. And then the next logical thing would be like, well, Jacob just killed somebody, so get him out. And I'll be like, no, you're stupid. Get you out. And then like it's the social dynamic of the game. That's what it is.
It's a fun game, and I like how simple it is.
Yeah, it's so simple. I don't know. I think for me, like it's a really popular fad game. It might disappear here in like 3 months, which would be suck. Not disappear, but like just die down in popularity. But I'm enjoying the crap out of it while I can.
Should we stream that?
I want to. Yeah, we should. That would be a blast.
I got a group of guys who are ready on a drop of a dime.
You would, Zach, you would like that game a lot.
Okay, I'll try it out. I've not played it yet.
It's super easy to pick up, and it's similar in a way to Phasmophobia. Not that it's scary, but that like the fun after you learn the mechanics is really just the social like aspect and the scenario in the game makes you have social interactions. But I don't know. Have you ever played a game called Mafia?
No.
With the card game, games. It's just an old card game where like you get everybody in a circle around a campfire, hand out decks of card. Like if you get a 1 through a 10, you're a village person. You keep your card. Nobody knows what you have. If you get like a joker, you're like I don't know, like a cop. If you get a queen, you're I don't know whatever. You're like you're a nurse.
Whatever.
If you get you're a mayor, and if you get an ace, you're the killer, right?
Okay.
And like you just go around. It's like okay. Everybody go to sleep. Okay. And then one person's narrating. Okay. The killer wakes up and the person raises up their head, says, who do they kill? And they point to a person. And then basically everybody wakes up and the person tells the story. Okay. Well, last night Jacob died and everybody's like, oh no, not Jacob. And then who did it? I think it was Zach because Zach and Jacob, were arguing earlier or whatever, that kind of thing. It's that, but a video game. Like it's extremely simple. You run around on a ship. You're just doing your thing. And okay. Like, if you're the betrayer, you might be in the same room as somebody. You whack him real fast. Nobody sees you walk away. Project Winter is a game we all tried to play together. It's the same thing, but it stacks all these components and it's a giant map. And I never really figured out what we were trying to do. Like we were trying to repair machinery, and then we had to go over here, and there were like 8 different phases. You have to get off the mountain. This game, you're literally in like a 6-room spaceship, and like you're. Okay, repair wires. You walk up to the wires and you just click, done, and you go to the next thing. So it's just simple to pick up and play and learn.
I'll give you a cool scenario though, because the game does evolve over time. Because even though it's a simple concept, it's when like you get good at the game where you can fake tasks in the sense of like. I'm the imposter, and I'm faking everything. They're like, how many wires did you? I did a purple wire, red wire, yellow wire, blue wire. The other side was yellow, red, blue, purple. I connected the top one, the middle, and I elaborate this really, really convincing lie because I've just memorized the game so much. So what happened?
So now when I play with you, if you're over descriptive about what you did, I don't know you're the killer.
I'm always over descriptive though. I'm always talking. They have a rule number 1 called just kill Jacob. That's their rule, which sucks, but nonetheless. I was playing and was down to the final 4 people, and the lights went out. And when the lights go out, the screen goes black, and there's just one little round circle around you. and we were going to the circle, and I pulled up the light panel, and there's 5 switches, and the 2 that were down were the second and the 5th one. So I switched the second and the 5th one. The panel came up, and there was a dead body, and a guy reported it. And they sat there, and they said, it's Kitty. They said, it's Kitty. Kitty killed him. And I couldn't see because I had the panel up. Kitty's like, I didn't kill him. You killed him. I was doing lights. And I sat there, they were going back and forth, and I had like 50 seconds left, and I was like, hey. And I asked this guy named Aaron, I was like, did you say you do lights? He's like, yeah, I did lights. I was like, when you opened the panel, what switches were down? And he sat there, and he just didn't say anything. And I was like, he did it. And we just voted him out. And it's like, it's that kind of level.
Here's the problem. Whenever I play, you guys ask me extremely specific questions. It's like, I don't even know like which room is which. Like I was trying to find a box. Like, yeah, so it's interesting.
Travis, that worked for some guy last night. He jumped on. It was his first time ever playing. And he was like, dude, I don't even know where electrical is. And I was like, he couldn't have done it. And then he made it to the final 3, and I was like, I really think he killed all those guys. Like, he might have played dumb long enough. So.
Yeah, it's social. If you can convince people one way or the other, it's a fun game.
But. Yep, 100%. The only other 2 games I've played, and I'm actually going to shake up the podcast a bit, introducing the first. First things first, I'll get this one out of the way. I picked up Madden 21. It's Madden.
You've never talked Madden before.
Shut up. It's Madden, dude. It just... Why are you buying Madden? Why am I buying Madden?
Why are you buying Madden?
I got it for... Actually, you want to know why I got it? It went on sale at Target for half off already.
Oh,
it went on sale at half off. And then some guy offered me $15 to go pick it up. So I paid $15 for it. For me, I'll pay $15.
Wait, some guy wouldn't go get it, and he just gave you $15 to go pick it up?
No, he wanted me to play franchise so badly that he gave me $15. So I only paid $15 for the stinking game.
Nice. All these Black Friday deals are kind of coming out right now.
Yeah. What was that goal, Travis?
EA Play is now going to be available on Game Pass.
Ooh.
And they typically add Madden to EA Play every year around the playoffs or around the Super Bowl. I'm just gonna wait until they start putting Madden on you.
You're not. Yeah, that's a smart. Dude, it's Madden. It sucks. But I will say this: skip Madden and download a free game on your phone. Mobile game. Are you ready for this? It's called Retro Bowl. Retro Bowl. It's
free?
It's a free mobile game. It's not free for me because I went ahead and spent money because it was so stinking good. I only spent $2.99 on it just to get a new updated version, like called Dynamic Difficulty. It is basically Techno Bowl for your phone with an in-depth franchise.
Oh, wow. I played Tecmo Bowl. I'm not even.
Yeah, I go through and sign players, and they have potential. You get the draft every year. You get signed free agents, sign your coaches. It is. I'm on my 6th year of franchise, Travis.
What's it? Retro Bowl.
Retro Bowl. It is game. Look at the reviews. People just praising this game.
Checking this out now.
A one-man made it, dude, and he's been pouring his heart into it.
These one-man games.
Yeah. I follow the dude on Twitter. He talks about like stuff he's trying to do. They made juking updates, so now you can juke by swiping to the screen.
This looks awesome.
It is a really cool game. Can
you sim like your season?
Yeah, no, you can't sim. You have to play through them. But the cool part is the quarter's only 2 to 3 minutes. You get to set the time, and you don't play defense.
Wow.
So you only play offense. So for
awesome.
me, it's the perfect toilet game. It's the perfect nighttime game. It's the perfect I need to kill a couple minutes game.
I'm all in. This sounds sweet.
I've
always thought, they've done this with wrestling games like Fire Pro Wrestling. Basically, they take what people love about the simulation and the sport, and they put it into like a retro style game. They've done that with other sports. I've never seen that yet with football, and I've always thought that would be so cool. Make like a really deep game that's,
Jacob, you said this was the perfect toilet game if you have a couple minutes to kill. But I think the better version of that was Quibi.
Oh my gosh.
And Quibi.
We said toilet game, not toilet.
Quibi, unfortunately, I had spent so many hours watching Quibi content. It is gone.
What is the golden arm? People keep talking about the golden arm, and I don't know what was Quibi. Like, is it just another streaming platform?
Quibi became a joke when before COVID hit. That was the last thing that we saw before COVID hit was
Anna Kendrick
on Super Bowl. That's how we found out about it, was through the Super Bowl.
I don't remember this. I just remember that it came out and I didn't know what it was, and then like nobody talked about it, and then I heard.
You don't remember that we were making fun of it when the Super Bowl was coming on the commercials? That's how we found out about it, because it popped up and it was like, Quibi, download on your phone now. So I was like, dude, I just want to see more Quibi. Every like play and so I was like, what's going on Quibi? I need to pull out my phone and watch some Quibi content. So.
Good Lord.
I knew that thing was dead from the second I saw it, and it is finally not here anymore. Quibi's dead.
Well, rest in peace, Quibi.
All I remember is that
streaming services.
Quibi is dead.
All I remember was Anna Kendrick had because she's like a pretty popular star. She had a TV show on there, and it was like that's all they ever showed was we have Anna Kendrick. In this
Anna
TV
Kendrick.
Show. And I was like, yeah, I still don't want to watch it. Like,
yeah,
like,
I'm not paying $10 a month for Anna Kendrick.
I don't know why these people think. I think they see what Netflix and Hulu and Amazon like when they make their original content, but there's more than just their original content. People just don't get.
I think we're also at the point. We've hit a point now where when Netflix and Hulu and it was Amazon Prime and it's just those three like kind of playing around and getting exclusives. It's like, okay, like I'll sign up for them and I like that, and I'll sign up for Amazon Prime. I'll sign whatever. But I think something happened when like you had HBO Go and then Max, and then like all these things became confusing, and then Peacock and then CBS All Access stuff, and then people reverted to back to piracy. Like you've now, because when cable TV and it was all these channels you had to buy, and it was like, okay, we're just gonna pirate it. But we're slowly creeping back into that. Like
they've peed in the pool. They cleaned it out.
People will find a way to watch what they want to watch without paying for it.
Yeah. But when it was Netflix and Hulu and stuff, it's like I'll pay $8 a month or whatever. But like this, or Disney. Disney, I think Disney is one of the newer ones. I think they're able to get away with it because their content is ungodly. You know what I mean? It's unmatched.
Unbelievable back catalog that has its own unique branding, and people will go for that.
And it was $7. I think. It'll go up over time. You don't
see a CBS amusement park either for that exact reason.
Just not like
nobody's going to ride. I don't know. CSI roller coaster.
I am. Who did
I think my main hiccup on all of this is just the idea like these TV channels think that their content's great enough to where people want to stream it 24/7, and I just don't believe that. Like CBS and NBC, like those two prime examples of like they have some good shows, but they don't have enough for me to sit here and say like I want to pay $10 a month to watch it, and eventually people don't understand like. The cable mindset is they're going to just find a way to get your money back. Like, if you're not getting cable, okay, we'll create a streaming service. Yeah. You know?
But it was crazy that the positive about all these, like, streaming services was, oh, God, now we're untethered from these cable, from TV, where we had to pay $80 for, I only watch 4 channels. But now we're back to the same problem where it's like I have to have 50 streaming services to watch exclusive stuff, and it's like we're back to where we were.
South Park left Comedy Central, and they're now on HBO.
Yeah, they did.
They're only on HBO now.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
No longer on Hulu. They're still on Comedy Central, but they're no longer on Hulu because they were on Hulu only. Now they're on HBO, which is so weird. But so now HBO's pulling TV shows in that they have never had before. Like never.
Yeah,
didn't know that.
It's weird, guys. It's really weird.
The streaming wars, and Quibi lost.
Oh, Quibi lost a millennium ago.
Did you know that got like $2 billion in investment, like from investors? I don't know.
It is definitely the Ouya.
So
Quibi.
Anyway, I've been playing some games.
What have you been playing?
First game I want to talk about is something I'd never heard of, like until 2 weeks ago, and it came out last year. Like, just wasn't on my radar at all. But I really have liked it a lot, and it's a game called Void Bastards. It's a game that came out on Xbox and PC last year in March, like spring 2019.
What's this look like?
And I look it up. It looks
pull this up, Jamie.
So cool.
Jamie, pull this up real quick.
I could. If you want me to share my screen, I don't know if that'll frick up what we're looking at here. But
just close your Pornhub tabs. But I'll pull it up on here.
Oh my gosh!
So look up Void Bastards.
I'm gonna look it up.
So this game is a roguelite, first-person shooter.
Okay.
And it takes place in space. And basically, it's got this beautiful like comic book art style. It looks like a game. There's an old game called 13. It has a really striking kind of comic book art style. But it's got that kind of an art style. And basically, what it is you play as this like robot leech thing. Like you don't realize this at first, but it basically attaches itself to prisoners. That are like there's just these unlimited prisoners.
Looks amazing. This looks like
there's like these unlimited space prisoners in this space prison, and basically you take over their body and you go in this spaceship and you're trying to travel across the galaxy and you're docking on these star map. You're docking on ships. You're going across the galaxy, and if you die, your host, the person you're playing as, dies, and they just give you a new body. But each body has like random characteristics. So like I had a guy who coughed randomly. So like when I would be sneaking around a ship, I would cough randomly, and like the guys would find me and try to attack me. I'm playing right now is a guy that's really short. So like I'm too short. Like I can't grab everything that I want to grab, but I also can sneak around more. Now I'm playing as someone who, like I saw someone who was colorblind. So like you just play the game, but the trait that they have is colorblind. So it's just black and white when you play. And basically it's just this really fun game. And you're going from spaceship to spaceship. It takes 5-6 minutes to clear out a spaceship. Different spaceships, when you're about to land, it tells you, okay, it has these types of enemies. It has a few or a lot.
The art style is incredible.
Yeah, you decide what guns you want to bring on. It's kind of similar to something like a Deus Ex in the sense of it's kind of open sim a little bit inspired, where there's all these environmental things that can happen.
Are you
can
getting
climb
red
through
pilled?
ducts. No, you can climb through air ducts, or you can try to focus more on fighting, or you can try to focus more on hacking machinery. But think of it almost like a ship like Among Us, right? Imagine if you could have randomly generated ships and you land on these ships and it's like, know there's loot in the ship and you're running around, you're grabbing stuff and you're trying to get off without dying. And it's cool because if you die, the person you're playing as dies, you get a new person and you lose any special traits you had built up. But you get to keep all your equipment and you're still going through the story. So it's not a roguelite like you die and you start the whole game over. You die and you just get a new character to play as. So
who told you about this game?
Nobody. I just was going through Game Pass and I saw it and I looked it up and it had good reviews and it looked really fun and I played it.
Game Pass is like Netflix, man. You just find something you never thought you'd like and you watch it.
Zach, you get Game Pass yet, bud?
No, I don't have it yet.
So Void Bastards, and I recommended it to another buddy and he really has been liking it a lot. And so to me, it's just like a fun, like it's a game. It's one of those games you do a ship and then you do a ship and then you do some upgrades and you do a ship and it's like, I could get off now, go to bed, or I could do one more and it'll take me 5 minutes. But it is extremely tense because it almost feels like when you get in shootouts, it's like Doom, where the player character, you run really fast and you just aim and shoot. And they have really good, the enemies, they shoot like things at you that float through the air. So you're kind of like dodging around the things they shoot at you. And, or you run out of ammo and then you're sneaking. And you have oxygen, you have an oxygen tank, so you can only be on a ship for so long. So it's very tense. It's like, do I try to go like to the back of the ship and get all the stuff, or do I run back now? There's some really big enemies that you can't really kill. And so you have to stealth around those. So it's just really fun game. Liking it a lot. So Void Bastards.
Nice.
Another game, I've been streaming Dead Space.
Did you beat it?
I thought I was gonna beat it.
Because I was seeing like, we're going to beat it live. I was seeing on our Twitter.
I thought I was at the end. I really did. And I'm not. There's 2 more chapters. I don't know why I thought there was 11 chapters in the game, but there's 13. I don't know. I looked up a list and I thought it felt like I was at the end. It felt like I was on the home stretch. And then they introduced like another thing. So I'm going to go do that. But overall, I've really been loving that game. I mean, at this point, these, and I'll talk about it in a minute. There's another scary game I'm playing. I've had kind of it's not a resurgence because growing up, I was scared of scary games. I
still am.
A scary game called something Shadows of Darkness or something of the Dark on the N64, and it creeped me out.
Shadow Man.
Yeah, I don't know what it was called, but it creeped me out. And then on my original Xbox, I had Doom 3. And that game scared me so bad.
Doom 3 is fricked.
Yeah, I played like 4 hours of Doom 3 when I was like in 7th grade, and I just decided on that horror games weren't for me.
Yeah.
So, and that was really probably a good decision for a long time. But I don't know, just this last year, just some of the stuff I played, it started like Resident Evil 4, and then I played Evil Within 2, and then Last of Us 2 got pretty dang scary. And then I dove into Dead Space, and I just been having fun. And Dead Space is such a great game. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've just really been impressed by that. That's one that holds up, I think, as a classic. I'm not quite done with it yet. And I don't know. I'm having a hard time gauging. I feel like it's just a little bit longer than I wish. If this game was
yeah, you almost
8
saw
to
your
10
time.
hours, if it was 8 to 10 hours, I feel like it'd be one I would want to replay every year or every couple of years. It's that good. But I don't know, because it's 13 chapters. Each one takes me about an hour and change. It feels just a little bit too long to be something I would play again and again. And so, but I also don't know, because I've been streaming it. And when you're streaming, you're talking, and it takes more out of you than just sitting and playing a game. I might have beaten this in 3 sittings if I just played it by myself. But Dead Space, really good game. Appreciate Captain Bangles is his name on Twitter. He came into my stream and he bought me Dead Space because we were talking when I was playing Super Metroid about what I would play next. And everybody in the stream wanted me to play Dead Space. And I was like, I don't own Dead Space. I own like 1,000 other games. I'll play one of those. And he bought it for me and sent it to me. So,
wow.
Thank you.
So that's how I'm playing Dead Space. So thank you.
Bangle, man.
But Dead Space is cool. Another game that I got for free, I got it from Epic Game Store. They give away all these games, and I never played any of them because I never opened the Epic Game Store. But now that I've got Galaxy, which is a program Zach and I have been using, it where you can connect all your different game license hubs to one place. I've been going through like the games, like what do I own on Epic Game Store, and there's a game on there. It's in the 80s on Metacritic, and they just gave the second one away for free, but it's called Layers of Fear, and it looked like a really scary ass game. Like it looked like a first person, like a PT style, like you're walking in these creaky hallways of a mansion and stuff's jumping out. And I hung out with my wife actually, and on Twitter or on Twitch, we hung out and like played like the first couple hours of Layers of Fear. Best way I would describe it is like a walking simulator. It feels like a walking
for me.
It looks like it's a walking simulator with a little bit of like Nancy Drew-esque, like not like you're not talking to people, but like you're trying to find how to open up the secret, bookshelf, that kind of thing. Like light puzzle. Very good looking game. I would say extremely disturbing. You play as a mad artist painter. And when you first start the game, you're walking around the mansion and you're finding like what looks like blood, but it's actually wine. It almost felt like Gone Home a little bit at the beginning, but unlike Gone Home, which rides that line of like a little eerie, but not scary, at about 20 minutes into this game, it plunges into full on scare the hell out of you. This game pulls this move where you'll go down a hallway and then you'll turn and then it's a dead end and you turn around and it's either completely different or there's a thing behind you and then it falls into the floor. Or, you'll walk into a room and it's very poorly lit, but then like the paintings are very lit and you'll go and look at the painting and then the painting's face will move and look at you and then like melt. And then like, there was a part in this game. I've never had this happen. I walk into a room and like, I'm like looking around and there's a chest in the back of the room. So I go up to the chest to open it. I fall through the floor into the basement. Like I'm in the main floor and I fall through the floor into the basement. And I'm like, dude, I can't see anything down here. I'm like, you can barely see a light up to the staircase and it's pitch black in the basement. And I'm like, what is happening? So I wouldn't say it's necessarily anything that I would say is fantastic, but it's my understanding the game's about 3.5 hours long. So I'm about halfway through it. And it's a neat little, if you're into walking simulators and you're also into horror games, like, it's a fun one that's not going to overstay its welcome. It seems like it's on a neat little story about a painter and his wife and, something. Spoiler alert, I think he's going to turn his wife into a piece of art that you find. Like that's like the way it's going is like he's kind of crazy and they're writing notes to each other and she's nowhere to be found and there's blood all over the house. Like, so
spoiler alert.
I just have a feeling like I'm going to walk at the end of the game.
What if it's the Mona Lisa? What if that's the ending? It's like she's stuck in the Mona Lisa. That'd be awesome.
That'd be a pretty big twist.
What's a twist?
So Layers of Fear, that is a free game. That's the theme this week is games I didn't pay for. Void Bastard, I pay for Game Pass. Void
Not
Bastards,
paying and
Dead
getting
Space, Layers of Fear, and I got one more. So one more game that I also is just on Game Pass. This came out this year. Basically, what pulled the trigger for me of why I wanted to get Game Pass this year and really start using it was there was a week where like 3 games in a row came out that all had an 87 or higher on Metacritic. That all were games that like I wanted to play, but I didn't want to spend $60 on. And when they all dropped at the same time, I was like, I should just get this service and check these games out. And so the first one was Crusader Kings 3, which I talked about that last time. Had a blast with that. The next one was Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I'm glad I'm doing the Game Pass option. Not that it's not good, but like I don't want to spend $60 on a simulator game. I'd rather just have a subscription and access it. The third one was this game, Wasteland 3. And so the Wasteland series is interesting. Do you guys know anything about Wasteland, really?
Yeah.
I don't think
so. Wasteland 1 came out in 1984.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people don't realize Wasteland 1 was made by Brian Fargo, I think his name is. He is also the creator of Fallout. He is also the director on Fallout 1. In fact, Fallout 1 was going to be Wasteland 2, but they lost the rights to EA. So Wasteland it was Fallout before Fallout. It's isometric RPG, walking around the wasteland, goofy sense of humor. Like it's all of what Fallout is, just with Fallout
Wasteland
1.
Fallout, I get the connection.
Yeah. So they're definitely related. But Wasteland 1 came out years ago, and then there was no Wasteland 2 for a long time. And then this company, In Exile Games, which was made up of a bunch of former people that worked at EA and Interplay and different places I don't think it was Interplay, but all these different places, they got together and they made Wasteland 2, I don't know, like 2012 kind of. And the word on that game was, or 2012 actually, the word on Wasteland 2 was basically, it was, it came out around the same time as Fallout 4. And so everybody's like, this is the real Fallout 4. Like, go play Wasteland 2. And everybody backed it on Kickstarter and everybody got into it. And
that's so funny.
It was kind of whatever. Like, it was like a 7 out of 10, really glitchy, kind of a mess, kind of game.
So it was like Fallout
Wasteland 3, they've been working on it for a really long time. And Microsoft bought the company while they were in the middle of making it. And I read an interview with the guy that made it and he said, basically, every time they've made a game in Exile, the last like 6 months, they feel like they have about 6 months less time than they need, right? And like $20 million less money than they need. Microsoft basically came in when they bought them and said, you have an extra year and you have an extra $100 million. Make this game as good as it can be. And the guy that made the game said, like, that was a difference between us making a 75 Metacritic game and an 85 Metacritic game. And I'm playing Wasteland 3 now, and it came out this year, and it got like an 88 or an 87 on Metacritic. It's a really, really, really fun RPG. Like, it is really cool. The difference between Fallout and Wasteland is Fallout is more you're just one person. Wasteland, you start with 2 people, you create 2 people, and they could be like father daughter, they could be sisters, they could be brothers, they could be cousins, they could be friends. You pick their backstory, and then from there you can add 4 more people to your party, but it's not like individual specified characters. Like there's some of those are floating around, but there's like these rangers you can recruit. It's almost like Metal Gear Solid 5, where like you can seek out people in the world that have skills you want and bring them into your ranger party and then invest in them and then build them up. And if they die kind of thing. But it's kind of that style of party building system with a Fallout RPG. It takes place in Colorado, which is cool. So it's very snowy, which is different. I feel like a lot of times with the Fallout games and Wasteland games, it's like a desert kind of setting, but this is in the mountains of Colorado. So it's like very snowy, and it's got a really cool sense of humor to it. It's really fun. And the RPG, like role playing, stat checks and all that are really in depth in a way I haven't played in a while in a game. Cool. So I'm having fun with Wasteland 3. It's a good time, and it's fun if you're into one of those, if you want to play an isometric RPG.
I'm going to wait for Wasteland 76, personally.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I've been playing, a lot of free and Game Pass games. So,
wow.
We've been making our rounds, boys.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that the PlayStation is coming out soon? And did you know that we finally get to see what it freaking looks like?
It's huge.
On the UI? Well, yeah, we did get to see.
I don't care anymore. So that's the thing I keep thinking about, how big it is.
The UI looks cool.
I'm down for it. I love that. One thing that, I grew up in the days when you had to use strategy guides. I've been there. Had to pull up a strategy guide to have your post-it notes. And then something started happening where, okay, YouTube started taking off. Oh, I can look up game clips to get past this level. Oh, this is a game changer. But what has happened, and I loved in the UI video, this is the one thing I really liked from it, was you have to like pull out your phone, you get distracted, somebody sends you a text, and you're playing, and you got your controller. You know what I mean? Like,
you have to keep opening your phone and opening the link and figuring out what's next.
Yeah,
and then
if
you
it's
get spoiled. And then it's like, oh god. Yeah.
So I loved in this video they showed, at least on the Little Big Planet, they used an example. They showed that if there is something you're trying to do, an achievement or whatever, they will give you like a hint through a video, like hint. And I love that. Oh. Sometimes all I need is a little hint. Like that's all I want. And I actually really like guides like that, or I saw stuff like that when I played the Return of the Obra Dinn. If I was stuck for like 45 minutes, it's like, I need a hint. Oh, okay, that would kind of connect and I wouldn't have to look and spoil everything. And that's kind of what they're doing here. Like, they can show you where it's at, they can give you a hint or whatever where it's at. So I really like that. You can share, you can do like screen sharing now, or not screen sharing, like
like
picture in picture.
I can stream my game to my friend, and he can put the picture in his top right corner and keep playing his game and watch me in the corner.
Yeah, so stuff like that. Just looks like more refinement. It looked very similar to the PS4's like stuff.
The one thing that I didn't really get about the video hint thing, and I looked it up online later, I don't know how it's going to work, is it's developer driven. So the developer would have to make those videos, and I saw a lot of developers online like, yo, like, we're barely getting these games shipped. Like, who's making these videos, right? Like, who's, like, how is that
you're going to have to hire somebody, the hint maker.
Then, Sony's creating jobs. But the other piece of that is I did see people online say, this is cool, but... And I don't know where I fall on this. I think it's fine. I think you have this basically anyway with YouTube videos and stuff now. But when you make a game, like a puzzle game is where this gets weird. If you make a puzzle game, people have to play the puzzle game, figure out how the puzzles work, and then they make guides online. Yeah. Right? If you make a puzzle game, but you have to put in the solutions, like think about... You know, the Talos Principle or the Witness. The Witness is a really good example. There's places you're going to get stuck that, like, that's kind of the goal, you know, and you can't really do a spoiler.
That's true. I think Witness is very unique in that.
You can't hint. And I agree. I saw these people arguing, and this became this, like, unique. Yeah, people also mentioned Fez. People are like, there are certain games where it's like, you don't want to hint at, like, some of what they're trying to do. It ruins it. And I was like, I get that, but I don't think Sony's going to actually be able to force people to make this if the developer doesn't want to.
I also think I'll just go to YouTube if the developer wants to be very stingy about it. But yeah, I agree, like stuff like The Witness, maybe they just don't offer it from the developer, and it's like, if you want to go spoil that stuff on YouTube, I guess go for it. But it's like, I don't know. But I it's gonna be weird. I think to me it just takes out the middleman of going to your phone and all this stuff. So
the thing though that I thought was amazing was, I don't know if it was the launch center or the control center, where they have the game integrated with the OS to where you could go in the game's main menu and pick levels and whatever. And with the load times, it's probably pretty quick. They had it to where in the UI you could say, I want to start my game from where I left off in this mission.
Yeah.
Like, not in the game, in the UI, you could just say, start here. I was 48% done with that mission.
Yeah.
And it would tell you, like, you're 10 minutes from the end of this mission.
Yeah,
in the UI.
that stuff's
and I'm like,
awesome.
I'm trying to extrapolate that across, like, okay, Demon Souls. When I play Demon Souls, am I going to hit Control Center? And instead of, like, having to go back to the Nexus and then go back to go to this other world, could I just say, hey, take me to Tower of Latria level 3 where I left off?
Yeah.
And I did. I will say on that note, I watched a video with the developer, the creative director of Demon Souls remake. Dude, I love this interview. This guy was awesome. He was talking about how they made the game and the way they kind of have really perfected how they do a remaster. Great watch. I'll drop it to you guys later. You should watch it. But he said that the load times on PS4, he said that he thinks part of why people get so frustrated in Dark Souls games is when you die, you have to sit there and wait for it to load, and load. Said when you die in this game, it immediately pops you back to the Archstone. There is no load screen.
Oh, that's nice.
So you're immediately playing again. He also said it feels almost like an open world game because when you're in the Nexus, you just go up and you say, take me to this level, and the screen flashes and you're there. There is no load screen.
Yeah, I think loading...
You literally just appear in those worlds that you pick from the Nexus. Which, Jacob, I know you haven't played. It's like a hub world, but you literally just click and then you're there. There's no load.
One of the aspects of this generation, among other things, this is just one that stood out, one like pillar of this generation was like, I felt like we were able to do particle effects and lighting and stuff combined. Yeah. And it looked incredible. Like Final Fantasy 15 and the summons and stuff like that stuff stands out above the past generations. I feel like right out the gate of this new generation, it's load times. Like that Ratchet and Clank game, this Demon Souls thing, like that Ratchet and Clank thing, like you have to process that. Like, oh, I'm jumping in and out of this level very quick. I'm going in between two spaces like within seconds. Like some new experiences are going to happen this gen, so that's exciting. Cool, awesome. And then one other thing I thought was pretty huge. Microsoft's just stirring the pot. I think last podcast we were talking about Bethesda being bought.
Yeah.
Now they have partnered with GameStop. I don't know if you guys had heard about this, but they partnered with GameStop where they are getting some type of kickback. I don't know the what the specifics were, but they're getting a kickback, GameStop is, for selling Xbox Series X, S, ABC consoles at the GameStops.
What's essentially happening is a few things. Number one, when GameStop sells a next-gen Xbox, they will have the serial number for that Xbox in their database. And when Xbox on their platform sells games or makes money from Game Pass from the person using that Xbox, Microsoft will give a cut of that digital purchase to GameStop. Or digital subscription. So that's number one. Yeah. Number two, the deal also included Microsoft was giving GameStop their Microsoft Cloud for conducting business. So they're going to have all of GameStop's inventory for all their stores connected to the Azure Cloud, allowing them to know in real time what availability for consoles and items and games they have across all their stores. So they could tell you right now, which is weird to think they couldn't do that before, but they're going to have Microsoft Surface tablets and be able to tell you, oh, well, this GameStop has 4 Xboxes, like immediately looking down or whatever. So
why couldn't they do that before? They needed the cloud. They needed the Azure cloud.
GameStop probably isn't capable. And they gave GameStop's going to use Microsoft Teams for their meetings and stuff. So in a way, it was about Xbox, but it was about more than Xbox. It was about, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Here's my thought on this. GameStop has been drowning in the river with no life preserver.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they were going to get one. I thought they were going to die. I don't think they're going to die now. And the reason why is because of this partnership. But the question is, well, what does Microsoft really have to gain from this? Here's what they have to gain. The one thing asset that GameStop has is they have thousands of stores open in the country. Like there is a GameStop in like every single town.
Yeah.
So if Microsoft looks at GameStop and says, we could make that a physical presence for Xbox, that's physical real estate in every single town that is pushing Xbox in America. There is value to that, right? Yeah. And they'll still sell PS4s, but they are definitely not going to focus on them nearly as much.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're thinking...
You're going to walk in and they're going to be like, you like Xbox?
Yeah, I think what they're thinking is if this helps us explain, like if we partner with them and their technicians know how to explain how Xbox All Access works, where you pay us money and we give you a console and we give you Xbox Game Pass, like if we can use the people that already exist in these stores to do that, we don't have to trust that the guy at Walmart's going to explain it good or the guy at Best Buy's going to explain it. We can just use GameStop people to do that program.
Yeah.
I think they're viewing as basically subcontracting out a Microsoft store.
Yeah.
And it actually is kind of a creative solution because Microsoft needs an edge somehow to help give them. They're thinking, what are all the ways we can try to have an edge to get someone to pick an Xbox over a PlayStation, and having, basically deputizing every single GameStop in the country and maybe even in other countries and saying, you're pretty much like second party Xbox.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to hurt their.
So
cause.
I just want to know. This is crazy. I mean, for the month of November, who's Microsoft going to buy? McDonald's? In every Happy Meal you get.
They said they're not done with the acquisitions.
Oh,
and
shoot.
I predicted Obsidian.
Who you predict?
For the effing record, I predicted that. You can go back to the podcast. I looked up the timestamp. I predicted Obsidian. I said they should reinvest in RPGs, which they did. They bought In Exile. They bought Obsidian. They've been making RPGs. They're making Avowed. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying. I did say that 343 should go make something other than Halo. They may get the chance. I don't know. It's not working out.
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald.
I said they should bring back Fable. They are bringing back Fable. When I look at what they have available to them, Phil Spencer did say that the thing that he thinks is the biggest thing missing from their catalog is really strong E-rated content.
Yeah, that's true.
Game Pass doesn't, which is dumb. Like they're
going to buy Nintendo. That's true.
But he said that they feel like that is a missing component.
Yeah, it has.
Don't buy Nintendo. And so, but I don't know, like what. I don't know that there's anything that would be rare. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are have it. Pick me. They're in the back, like pick me.
I don't know. I could see them buying.
Put me in, coach.
I have always thought that they should buy Ubisoft because Ubisoft has kind of been potentially pimped out a few times.
Buy them and kill
people.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 and reboot
But
that.
I think if they bought Ubisoft, Tom Clancy fits Xbox.
That's E for everyone.
Well, but the Tom Clancy games are like, that is Xbox.
Yeah.
Like Ghost Recon and all this stuff. So that's a perfect fit. And then Assassin's Creed, that fits great on Xbox. Like I think that would be a route to go.
I predicted last month that they're going to buy an insurance company, Allstate, and you're going to have to play Xbox if you're going to want your broken arm in a cast.
Did you guys see that thing a couple weeks ago? There was this tweet that went out and nobody knew what it meant, but it was from like official places. And it was like, NASA has an urgent announcement about the moon.
Yeah.
Tonight at 5 p.m. And Jason Schreier, he tweeted, he said, wow, that's a big get for Microsoft, the moon.
That's pretty good.
That's actually really funny.
Did we find out what was going on with the moon?
No, I just saw the memes. I guess nothing important.
Is the news not out yet?
Let's look it up. I'll tell you.
Jamie, pull that up, Jamie.
You know it's bad when the memes get more news than the news about the moon.
Yeah, what's going on with the moon?
Yeah, what happened to the moon today?
The moon.
I always was on a big thing of a couple of years ago. I kept going up to people and I was like, I think I'm good with the moon being destroyed.
What?
Why do we need the moon? What happened? Oh, what happened?
NASA confirms there is water on the moon that astronauts may be able to use.
Nice.
How did we not learn this sooner?
Yeah, just look a little deeper.
It's because we stopped going to it.
It's distributed across the lunar surface and it's only a small amount. Well, then how are they going to use it? There is enough water to make one glass of water and an astronaut can drink it.
I'm thirsty now. I'm thirsty again.
Hey, you guys ever seen
anymore?
Did you guys ever see Futurama? Anybody?
I've watched it a few times. I never really grasped it. Like, it's funny, but I never.
Yeah.
Some people really like identified with it. It was just funny.
It is very funny, in my opinion. But they did an episode about what the moon's going to look like in that time frame, and they turned it. It's like the moon is going to become a giant amusement park. That was the meme of it.
I saw that episode actually.
That episode for me is hysterical because it's like, Fry, who's from the 1990s, is now sitting in the year 3000 or whatever year they are in, and he's going on. He's like, I'm on the moon. And everybody's like, dude, it's the moon. Who cares? Like, we've all been here. He's like, no, you don't understand. I'm on the moon.
The moon is like Gatlinburg of the solar system. Like, we've all been to Gatlinburg.
But to me, it's like they come out and say, we have breaking news about the moon. And we're all like, it's the moon. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean? It's just funny.
Yeah, I went on a tangent a couple years ago about blowing up the moon. Why do we need it? Who cares?
Well,
and I finally gave up that quest when I started reading about if the moon went, it has a big gravitational stuff with Earth the oceans would go nutso butso and we would drown and die.
Yeah,
it would be chaos.
How did you not realize that sooner?
It'd be chaos.
Honestly,
because everybody I went up to, I said, why do we need the moon? And no one could give me an answer. And I said, I'm ready to blow it up. And they're like, you can't. And I said, why not?
Nobody knew that.
And finally, I found the answer to myself. I looked online and they showed, finally someone answered, we would all die. And I was like,
I would challenge your company and like the people you hang with.
Yeah. Well, I found out.
The moon plays a very
well, I left that place soon after that no one could answer the moon question.
Real quick, I was going to ask, because it is spooky season, so I was going to ask you guys a question, but you guys have been watching any TVs or movie shows about like anything spooky or anything?
Yes. The second season of Unsolved Mysteries.
I watched the first part of that.
I like the first season better, but I still love Unsolved Mysteries. Like every episode, I just liked.
That first episode back that was about the government guy that like his house was broken into and he was throwing smoke bombs and nobody knew and he like disappeared and then they found him and
I think this episode did better. I think the first one was so ambiguous that it caused chatter online. This one always dropped a nugget and went, okay, that's probably what it was. Like, I felt like this season was like, really got you creeped up, and it was like, but also he never took his meds, or like, this person did this, and it was like, okay, that was probably what that was.
Some of the stuff last season was so like, what?
Like, what happened?
What freaking happened here?
Yeah.
Like,
I did like a lot there's a ghost episode in this one. Any of the supernatural stuff where it gets kind of crazy I think
the UFO episode of the first season.
Yes, they're very. I feel like they're very filtered and very hand picked of what stories they're going to do. And the ghost one was about the tsunami that they had in Japan in 2011.
Oh yeah.
And like all like there were so many deaths and stuff, and they talk about like how when that happened, tons of people had like these ghost experiences, like stuff, and because there was so much death that went on and stuff. Yeah, that was 2011. But that episode was interesting. That's
really weird.
Episode. So
yeah, the tsunami was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking nuts.
I'm actually pulling up a video right now watching it. It's like I'm watching cars.
I remember it being kind of unreal.
Well, people don't realize,
that's all I had watched on TV. I've been me and my wife have been still going through Mad Men. We're in the second season, and I will just say I first watched this when I was in college. I just recently came out of college. I'm now married.
Yeah.
This show hits different when you're married. There's just more marriage dynamics and stuff that me and my wife were laughing about, like, because it's like, yeah, we fought about this before, or we've had these conversations, or like, I don't know, just in all these dynamics when you're married. And
a big focus of that show is him and his wife. I only watched the first season and a half, and I gave up on it. But I might like it more now than I did then.
I think now that you're married, the show will connect with you more. I am more connected to the show than I was back then. More stuff hits differently. The show hits differently now that I'm older, but I'm very much enjoying it. It's very good. That's it for TV. You guys watch any TV? Anything going on in the TV world?
I'm trying to think. I started Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh yeah,
which
you talked about that on the podcast, I think.
Yeah, on over the summer on one of the podcasts, I had just finished Full Metal Alchemist, the 2003 anime, and so that show's really known for. There's basically two different versions of the anime. One does its own thing after halfway through, and the other one follows the manga to a T. And I watched the original one first, and I liked it. I had issues with the pacing, and I felt like it took a little longer to get where I thought it was interesting.
I'm gonna be right back. You keep talking.
Yeah. Once it got there, I was really happy about it. I really liked it. But is this like a bit?
What?
What is going on?
I don't know.
I have no idea what's going on.
Currently, if you're not watching on video, Zach just disappeared from our site.
He just like jetted. Like,
did he have to like pee? What did he say?
He had to pee, or he is going to put on like a mask and come back and do something scary. I have no idea.
I don't either.
I'm totally distracted.
It happened so quickly. It's like, I'm like, what? What do we do?
Oh my gosh.
Guys, this is part of the things. This is behind the scenes. Let's talk behind the scenes of the podcast while the man's not here. We get on these calls and it's all sporadic. It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, if you guys are sitting here wondering, like, the only thing we ever, like, say, like, this is what we talk about the topics, but it's not even like we talk about what we're going to really talk about. It's all, like, sporadic.
We just write down a bunch of stuff on a sheet and just start talking.
And sometimes we don't even write it down, let's be honest.
And we have no idea, and it probably is apparent, we have no idea how he's going to start the show.
Ever. Every week. It's like, now he's coming back. He's not wearing a mask. So I'm guessing he had to go tinkle. And there he is.
Back.
And yeah. we had behind the scenes talk while you were gone. Anyway, so yeah, but Full Metal Alchemist, the original series was cool. I really liked the ending. It got really philosophical and crazy and like alternate dimensions, and it went full Evangelion at the end in a way that I thought was cool. But Brotherhood, I wasn't sure. I heard it was more kind of focused on action, but it kind of streamlines it. This show is freaking awesome. Like, I like the original Full Metal Alchemist. This is the better show.
Oh, nice.
Easily 5 episodes in. It tells in 5 episodes what it took the original show to tell in.
It's like the
22.
rebuild.
It really is. It's like the
Evangelion.
rebuild, and it's better visually. It's better voice acting. It's more intense. It's more visually interesting. They introduce the characters at a much better pace. It introduces everybody, and then it shows their backstory. Whereas the original anime starts way in the past and just slowly adds people in, and you're like, where is this going for a while? Yeah, I'm liking Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's fun, and I got plenty more to watch. So it's a good show. Really good show.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. I'm sure I'll update as I go through it.
Cool. Hey, can we freaking talk about Tenet, please, God?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. We can talk about Tenet.
Okay, well, we won't. Are you still planning to see it, Jacob?
I plan on
Jacob,
it. But
okay.
Jacob, we could explain this movie. I don't know what happened in it, and I saw it, so it's...
We won't spoil
Okay.
it. We won't spoil it. Okay, non-spoiler review. It sucked. I can do all that stuff that person did. No,
The movie that killed movies.
Yeah, this movie, I think on top of everything, was the movie that did kill movies because it did not perform, surprise, surprise, because some theaters aren't open still and whatever, but I guess it underperformed, obviously, which caused everybody else to delay their movie to 2021 and some into 2022. I think Dune got pushed back to 2022, so.
And Disney said that streaming is now their main delivery
platform.
Wow.
So, I guess to talk
Did you
about the
hear about that,
review,
Jacob?
this might be the
No,
last.
I didn't.
Disney announced moving forward, they will maybe still do some movies in theaters, but their primary distribution platform is streaming now. So,
God.
if they do another Avengers, that's probably going to be in theaters. Ant-Man 4, probably not going to be in theaters.
Yeah.
I would guess.
So,
Ant-Man
I guess
3,
to
whatever.
talk about, this might be the last movie we see in theaters. This might have been the big finale of being in the theater. No, yeah, it was funny. I had recently watched Interstellar and Inception and stuff, and this movie, right off the gate, I just want to talk about kind of the glaring kind of thing that was also present in this movie was the audio, the dialogue, and I had to sit there with the remote. Me and my wife, we were watching Inception and Interstellar.
Yeah.
People will be talking like this, and they'll be talking, and you got to really listen to the voice. And you crank up the volume, and then an explosion will happen, and it rocks the house, and glass was breaking in our house, because it's just not mixed well. There's just no way around it. It's just like, this sucks. Like, I don't have to do that. I did that for every Nolan film, while we were watching through it. And I wish I would have had a remote in the theater to do this, but we did not. So we just had to listen intently to just, and just big explosions would happen. I don't know, but
Well, and it's even also, this isn't even just people talking quiet. Something happened with Dark Knight Rises where Bane with his mask.
yeah,
You can kind of already sort of, you don't really know. Hear him, but you get some of it.
Yeah.
But it's Bane, so it's like whatever. It's Bane, you don't
Yeah.
know. This movie starts, and
with somebody in that.
every single person on screen is wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, it's 2020.
And you can't understand what they're saying. And then they take the masks off and he's talking to somebody about something you don't really understand. And they're talking in a room, but the music is at like 11.
Yeah.
And it's like, doo, 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 doo,
Yeah.
And they're like, what about this? What do we want to do? Gonna go to the keeper in the mosque. And it sounds like English, but
Travis,
you don't know the words.
Travis, you said that this was Nolan does this on purpose. Like this is
he
not.
Does. He's been asked about this in interviews.
To which I go, it sucks.
And his point is, and this is to me the height of smelling your own farts.
Yeah, I think I'm gone.
Him and his audio engineer, or whatever, little
Mikey, little Mikey.
Their philosophy is that Nolan says he wants his films not to be a passive experience, but an active experience. So he doesn't want you to passively sit back and listen. He wants you to sit on the edge of your seat and focus.
Hey, he achieved that because I have to sit there with the remote and hit the volume up and hit the volume down. And
he can F off because I listened very actively his entire movie and didn't know what was going on. Period.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And maybe this is apparent. I liked parts of the movie, but I have soured on this a little bit in retrospect as we watched it probably 2 months ago.
We watched it 2 months ago. I actually still feel the same as I did. I am someone that is a sucker for, and I think we both said this when we were coming out of the theater, of like, this was a Kojima film. This is a Hideo Kojima film. Meaning, here's how this works, and everyone wears masks because this happens when you're, with the time stuff that's going on, without spoiling it for Jacob, whatever. There's time involved stuff. I'm a sucker for that. The world building, the lore, the world works different here, and going into that
was all really cool.
That stuff I'm a sucker for. Once you do that, I strap in, and you can do anything. You really can do anything for me outside of audio mixing like an idiot. Then I will give you a pass on that stuff. But this movie, I will say this. I did get home. Me and my wife were talking about this, Travis. So there's one part of this movie at the very end. Interstellar had really good, kind of everything kind of like clicked at the end. You know what I mean? Like things clicked.
Yeah. In Interstellar, you realize what all these things meant in the beginning,
and this movie's click is so cheaply done.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
When I got home, it hit me because, like I said, I strap in and you've got me the whole rest of the movie. If you can do that world building stuff, I'm like, you can fool me, whatever. But I got home and I was like, even in that state of where I'll let you do anything because I'm a sucker for that. I got home and there's one thing, they're building up the hype of this.
Something that needs to be done a specific way.
Yes, there is a barrier
to win
at the very end of the movie. There's a huge barrier, and there's so much pressure. And then something happens at the very end of the movie. It's bypassed, and they even explain that it's bypassed. They go, we did it. It's said so nonchalantly, and I go, you kicked me out of my strapped in, and I'm totally in. I'm totally fooled, and I at this point kind of
it would be like if at the end of
you didn't win this. It would
be like if at the end of Interstellar, all these stakes and all this stuff, he just realizes, there's just this little door right here. I can open it. I'll be back with my daughter, and I'll just do it, and no consequences.
Yes, it's not one. There's no stakes there, and whatever. Outside of that, the fights in this freaking movie.
Yeah, it was really cool. Cool action.
So freaking cool the way they do time stuff and whatever. Oh, I loved it. I really freaking loved this. And it felt like a freaking Kojima game in those parts.
It's like a technical in terms of visual, really cool. I will say, though, I wouldn't even call it a visual masterpiece in one way. In that the main set piece at the end, and maybe it's that the exposition didn't work for me. I didn't know what was happening. There is this end set piece battle in this, and you see it in the trailers, but massive battle with these different factions doing different things and doing different things at different times. And there are cool moments in there, but it lasts for about 20 minutes. And I am not kidding you. I actually didn't understand what it was they were trying to do. Like I knew they were trying to go to one specific spot, but I didn't really get what they were trying to do when they got there. And there's a sequence at the end of this battle with these people in this underground tunnel. And it's like Looney Tunes. Like a guy will run in and he's got a thing on, and then the guy hits him with the hammer and he falls. And then a guy is going to throw something in the thing, and then the same guy from before comes in, but now he's walking backwards, and then he stops him, and then this guy's go. And I'm like, who's dead? Who's alive? Yeah. Who's in here and who's not in here? Oh, this guy's driving a truck now. I thought he was down there. Yeah. Oh, now he's not. And then at the end, they do like this funny, like, I gotta go do the rest of the story kind of thing. And to me, the characters in that moment fell flat because I like them on a surface level. They look cool. They act cool. They do good in the action scenes. They say witty things. But like, unlike Interstellar, unlike the Batman movies, unlike Inception, even unlike Dunkirk, I didn't really have a connection to the, even like in Dunkirk, I like Tom Hardy's pilot guy. We didn't know a lot about him, but he was characterized enough. I kind of got his thing. Mm-hmm. These people, I didn't ever really get, only the main female character that I really get a feel for what she wanted to do. Why she was even her, I didn't really understand. There was a whole thing with a painting, and then they were going to destroy a painting, and then that was going to set her free. It didn't make any damn sense. Like the movie was the story and the plot.
I agree with all that.
The plot is a mess, but the world is really cool and the action was fun. That's really the best way to sum it up.
That's the way to sum it up. I agree with all those critiques and all the other stuff that I had problems with as well. That world building and stuff, that was an amazing experience. There is a giant moment of special effects. Well, practical effects and special effects, like stuff that they do in this is unreal. It's like audibly gasp of like stuff like they do this big set piece. I love that, and for that, I love that movie for this. All those other underlying stuff is still there, and I loved it for that.
I think it's Nolan's messiest film I've seen.
Yeah,
that's kind of upsetting.
Yeah, but
I still think it's worth seeing on a big screen. Like I
will also
wouldn't
say
give it a negative review. It just
the movie
mixed bag for me.
I love that. I actually will compare this, and this will be either good news for Jacob or bad news. I will compare this game with this movie with Death Stranding or Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say,
It's the Last of Us Part 2 or the Death Stranding of movies, because
I don't see the Last of Us 2 necessarily.
Well, the reason I say that is because Last of Us 2 took some chances with its story, but it was so ungodly expensive to make that, and it was so ungodly expensive to make Tenet, and so ungodly to make Death Stranding.
It's like an auteur with
It's an auteur. Like I love that people like Chris Nolan exist, and I'll see every movie of his day one.
Yeah,
because
like I'm gonna go see his next movie. Yeah,
he's an auteur, and I love that Tenet exists, and that it is nutso butso, and it does stuff that I don't understand what I'm seeing, but I love that I'm seeing it. Like. Yeah. What am I even like witnessing right now is unlike any. Death Stranding is unlike any other experience I've ever had.
And there were some cool sci-fi elements to this movie that were almost Death Stranding of like otherworldly. Like I can't quite pinpoint what his influence was on some of like the design of the tech and stuff.
Yeah, very cool. So, yeah, I definitely recommend it still, Jacob. So I hope.
I'm gonna go see it. I mean, that's the plan, but
yeah.
Do it while you can, while there's still theaters.
Yeah, before they're gone.
I'm going to. I'm on my way hopefully in the next couple weeks, maybe.
I want to swing back to me being red-pilled. I forgot to mention, there was another thing that was on top of this, and it was a movie that me and Travis saw, They Live. So I got the trifecta of... That's why I said, movie. Like, at the very end, I don't trust any government. You know what? The government might lie to you.
And an Alex Jones, Joe Rogan podcast back-to-back. That'll do you.
Hey, at this point, I'm going to say something. The Vietnam War might not have been a good idea. No, but They Live was another John Carpenter film. So we've been going through that and watching some of those movies. But I had always seen this movie talked about. I think Deadly Premonition mentioned it or whatever we were playing. It was like, we have to watch this movie, like, because I've seen it my whole life. Like, little screen grabs from this, and he has the sunglasses. Something's going on. I freaking loved this movie.
It was awesome.
I freaking adored this movie so much, like, because I love. Well, one, that sense of humor and the little like laugh out loud like goofy guys is in is all
it was
these
funnier than I expected.
Yeah, and all these John Carpenter the one liners that's out of the main character's mouth. I mean, this is I didn't even know we've heard.
I'm here to that line. I'm
and
here
chew
to
bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. I always thought that was Duke Nukem, but I didn't know he was just straight up
came from
quoting
this movie. Yeah.
This movie, They Live. So that's a famous quote from this movie. Also, there is a fight scene that I did not know about that wasn't spoiled for me that goes on for 15 minutes.
It's two men in an alley beating each other up.
Beating the
living tar out of each other.
It's unbelievable. It's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
And it's not like it's fake or like Hollywood. It's just two dudes just beating each other.
Yeah, and it's so unbelievable that it's in the middle of this movie. I think I ended up giving this movie a 4.5 off on or Letterboxd. I just love this type of movie and like little seeds of capitalism and little commentary. Like I'm just all about that kind of stuff. And
it's a movie. It's hard. It's like it's best probably if we don't explain what it is about. But I will say, just at a base level, it's just about a guy who discovers he's on the fringes of life. It's kind of like this near future for them in the 80s. I mean, now it's in the past, but it's almost like a kind of like near future, the city is the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. These people are like in the 80s, like living out in this field, like with tents.
Well, it's like shanty towns. Like they're all like the construction workers are in shanty towns.
Construction workers, they don't have enough money. And basically this main character guy, he stumbles upon like a secret, let's say like a secret, that is shocking, and it's about society and it's about how people are being controlled. And there's a different version of this movie that plays that up for thrills, or there's a version of this movie that plays that up for like suspense. This movie says, let's go balls to the wall.
Yeah,
action.
Let's go nuts with it. Let's go.
Literally, this guy finds out that there might be some things controlling the world. Dude walks into a bank with a shotgun and just starts shooting people. Like,
oh my gosh.
But like it's like an 80s vibe and setting.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
It's awesome. It's a great movie.
I loved it. It's one of my.
It was fun. It was fun, and it also is a good reminder that the year before last, I don't even know if we talked about this. We watched a movie by John Carpenter called Prince of Darkness. One of the worst movies I think I've seen this year. It was just a really, really. It was a butt. It was a complete butt movie. It was useless. That came out in 1986, and then in 1987 he made They Live. So like it just goes to show sometimes with directors and stuff, they get different levels of budgets, or people can't, sometimes you crap out a turd, sometimes you crap out a gold nugget. I mean, it is what it is, but it's cool.
Anybody else watch any movies or anything? Or because I have two other things to talk about.
No, I don't think I watched anything else that I can remember. I might remember.
Borat 2.
I didn't even watch Borat 1. AOI was asking me about that during my stream if I watched Borat, but I don't.
Borat 1. Here's how I watched Borat 1. I was never into like mature stuff when I was like growing up. Like I didn't care to play GTA. Like I played it at a friend's house, but there's no way I could bring it into my house probably. Like my parents weren't like hyper against that stuff, but it's like if I tried, they'd be like, good try. You know what I mean? Like that would have never happened, and I never tried, never cared. Borat, I really wanted to see. Borat looked really funny to me. That was back, I think, right when I'd entered high school. It was like 06 or something that came out, I think. And I think I was, middle school, high school, whatever. But I really wanted to watch it. I was like, how am I going to get this movie? I really want to watch this movie. But I know it's so explicit and all this other stuff. And I had a friend. I gave my money. I gave money to my friend to go buy it at Walmart, and I hid it under my bed. And that's how I watched it. I had to watch it when none of my parents weren't home, and that's how I watched Borat 1. And that's just my memory of that movie. But I loved Borat 1. I thought it was freaking hilarious.
Something I didn't understand about Borat, is it real? Like, is it a documentary?
It is.
I thought it was all fake.
It is a mix of a fiction story that Sacha Baron Cohen comes up with, but he comes up with this character. And he's done this in Ali G and whatever his shows before or whatever, but in this movie, he creates this character, Borat, he talks like this or whatever, and he's from Kazakhstan, but he goes out in public and finds these like actual people, and that's how they mix that in with like real. Then he goes back to his story and then back to that. So entertaining, so freaking hilarious. His style of comedy is this shock comedy, but it like shines a light on like racism in America and like what are people willing to do if they think this guy really is this foreigner or whatever. What will they put up with? You know what I mean? Like, will they like how much of the racism will they let show? Yeah. And he does something very racist, and they're like okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I guess we'll just go along with it. Borat 2, Amazon Prime, whatever, just came out. I think I like it better than the first movie. Really? In this movie, he does the same thing. He builds a story or whatever. But in this one, I don't want to spoil the plot or whatever. It's nutso butso, the premise of this one. But they explain like where he's been the past years or whatever. But his daughter, who's supposed to be 15 years old, gets accidentally sent to him, like whatever. He's supposed to bring this monkey over and give it to Mike Pence. That's the premise without going too much into it. And gets mixed up, and his daughter's in this crate. And the dynamic between this, I wasn't sure, like, oh, is he going to be around for this long time, whatever? Like, I just really like Borat. She ends up being very freaking funny, and the dynamic between them and, like, them interacting with people
interesting.
Is so, I highly suggest this movie. I watched it, though, like this. The cringe level is, like, 10 out of 10.
This had the Rudy Giuliani thing that everyone's been talking about, too, right?
Yes. Yeah, that broke out and stuff, all this news story about that. But very freaking funny, extremely cringe. I freaking loved it. I was laughing and trying not to watch.
Should I watch the first one first?
I would. I would. Yeah. I would, because there's just you don't have to, but it just adds to like, okay.
Well, like I like Nathan For You, so I feel like it's not the same thing, but it's in the same stratosphere in terms of cringe, in terms of
if you liked the cringe on that, I was watching the second film cringy? Like the Nathan For You in some parts, very like it's.
Oh, that is.
I will say actually yes, definitely. Nathan For You was cringy, but this does things. There was 3 parts of this movie that made me audibly like like gasp at what he was doing. The stunts that he pulls are crazy. Absolutely mind-bending, like cringe. So very freaking funny. Loved it. Freaking loved it. That's Borat. I want to talk about lastly, I have went through the Mad Max films. I have seen Mad Max Fury Road. That was the most recent one. I think have you guys seen that? The 2015
one? Yes, that's
one?
the only one I've seen. And my approach to I'm curious your thought. My approach to these has been, we talked about The Devil May Cry, right?
Yeah.
When I saw 5 came out, I was like, I'll just play 5 if I play them. I'm not playing all those. Like that's how I did Mad Max. I just watched Fury Road. I said, have a hard time believing the older ones are going to be better than this. So I don't really care. I'm probably not going to go back.
I think you could be close to right. And I'll jump through these films. The first one is he loses his daughter or loses his wife and loses son. That's like kind of the big thing in the beginning of the first one. That kind of takes his. That's why he becomes Mad Max. He's mad. Mad. And who took him away? Whatever. It is so. It's almost like a dress rehearsal for Mad Max. There is like everything that I'd seen, maybe Fury Road, but like the culture, like pop culture with Mad Max, it always was like these crazy road guys and spikes and BDMS gear and stuff. You know what I mean? Like crazy looking guys on the road and battling. And this doesn't really have that. It's very low key. They kind of look rough guys with motorcycles, but it's very low, extreme key of these guys on the road, like fighting, and that doesn't really even happen that much in the first one. It's not
really.
It's not to the level of whatever the other movies are. So it's like there is some of it in it, but it's very low. It's very like not there. The first one I was just like mixed on, and they kind of have a plot with the wife I don't even care about, but I was kind of whatever on the first one. Didn't really care for it. The second one is awesome. The second one has like a long like race sequence and like a chase car sequence or whatever. It has some of that crazy stuff that I think that's where it kind of became really known of like Mad Max and stuff started to explode was that movie. And I really loved Mad Max 2. That one is fun. Fun action, like audible like reactions. And all those older movies that have stunts, you have to see that. They're not doing CGI. They're literally some guy is falling off a motorcycle at a fast speed. You know what I mean? Like some of the stuff is crazy. You're watching like this happened. Like they're doing this for real. Beyond Thunderdome is the third Mad Max film. Came out in I think 85. This movie starts out cool. He gets into a town and everyone is like kind of looks like cavemen. Their hair is like grown out and they have like giant mohawks and stuff, like giant mohawks that everybody's like, and I'm like, okay, I like in the world building here. I like this stuff. He gets like kicked out to the desert, gets whatever. Mad Max, like, I don't want to spoil everything, but like he goes out to the desert, meets this Captain Hook tribe of little kids that are lost out there in the desert, and this movie falls apart. I'm like bored to tears, and that because that's half the movie.
Turner in it. That's
half the movie, and Beyond Thunderdome sucks. There's a lot of cool stuff in that. There was one cool fight and one cool like kind of twist in the fight that kind of happens. Outside of that, Beyond Thunderdome like sucks. Oh my gosh.
So Mad Max 2 is
good.
Really,
it's
the
cool
one to watch.
Beyond Thunderdome is just they lost me. And the chase sequence, I don't even know if there's a chase sequence at all. There's no car stuff in that one. Mad Max Fury Road, I loved. I think it was my movie of 2015. I really loved the first time I watched it, and I think I watched it another time after that. So this is my third time. I went back after I watched all these Mad Max. I'm going to watch this other one again in 4K, baby. This movie, I had rated it a 4 out of 5. I changed my score. I just finished it. That is a 5 out of 5 movie.
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road, this is my third time watching it. I had goosebumps watching this movie the third time because I loved it so much. The freaking action is incredible.
Yeah, well, especially after coming off of the originals.
Yes, and I love that they brought in some of the, like, what I loved in Mad Max 2, and I think 3 does it too, whatever, but he has his own style of, like, those movies. There's a signature, like, they speed up the film. And I think Mad Max 1 even did it. They sped up the film, like, everyone moves really quick, like, times 2 speed. They did that in Fury Road, and they brought that back, and it has its own distinct style. And then something you might not have known, but in the night sequences in Mad Max Fury Road, that's actually daylight. And they color graded it so much to blue to make it look like they were nighttime because they were having trouble like filming that in the desert, like with their schedules and stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like a comic book. You're like watching like a real life comic book. And I was watching this, and you know what it made me think of? Star Wars. Here's how. The world and all these like there's like these bald guys, like all these like men are bald and they spray paint on their mouths and they're using all this old technology.
So much world building.
And I was like, there's so much hyper world building that I'm like soaking up. I was like, man, I wish the new Star Wars films would have been like this a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I wish they would have had like a little element of this in it. But I want George Miller to make the next Star Wars. After seeing
that's
this,
what I was gonna say is like who.
Give it to him.
George Miller, I don't know what else he's made, but like
Happy Feet.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But and anyway, Mad Max.
But like Mad Max 1, 2, and 3, you know, like they're good, and 2 looks I haven't watched them, but they're 80s goofy action, high points, low points, whatever. Mad Max Fury Road is like a bona fide classic of the decade, hyper stylized, cutting edge, bleeding edge tech, CG and practical, great performances. It's like nothing about what he did with that franchise made you think when he's 80 he would make that.
Yeah.
So like what is that? Is that just him? Is that he partnered with some people, like he built out a good team that all had a vision?
He found the right people came together and it created the Chicago Bulls of a movie with a team that came up.
Like there's no way that like this 80-year-old, I'm not taking credit away from him, he made the movie, but like I mean like we see that all the time.
Well, if you watch the second movie, there is like he's peppered because I watched them all in a row.
I might be totally ignorant. What else has he made?
I watched them all in a row. And it feels like Fury Road was kind of the culmination of where he was heading with these movies.
But he took a 20, 30-year break.
Well, he had to make this one. He made Happy Feet in the meantime. He really did, and something else.
He did. Oh my! He made Babe.
Yes, he had to make Babe.
Babe, Pig in the City.
I liked Babe as a kid.
Happy Feet.
I'm gonna rewatch. I'm gonna go through his discography or his filmography.
Oh, you about to start studying it?
Yeah. But all that to be said, I think this might be one of my favorite movies of all time. I need to see where that. I need to re-look at my life after Mad Max Fury Road the third time because I don't know. I think personally if we're talking world building and stuff, this is like a smorgasbord. And I think this movie's only 2 hours long. It's like 2 hours is like 5. It's not very long at all.
Pretty lean, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very quick movie. It gets in and out, and this movie doesn't do a lot of crazy stuff. It just entertains the hell out of you.
Yeah.
I had an
to
amazing
rewatch
time.
that. I loved watching it the one time we did.
Yeah, so I have to give a 5 out of 5 out of Mad Max because it does not waste your time. It goes in, it does incredible stuff, and gets out.
Yeah.
Loved it. So that's all I want to say. I do want to say too.
Oh, I forgot. We did watch a couple other movies, but I'm done.
Oh,
Listen, baby. I'm going to be doing a figure review on this soon. It's coming out on the channel. I just did Cloud. I'm back in the figure world, baby.
I can tell.
With Final Fantasy Remake. These figures are here. Here's a little sneak peek. That's all you're going to see. Cloud's back. I got that figure review's up. We're doing Barrett soon. I got some Polygon freaking Final Fantasy 7 figures. It's going nuts over here on the channel. So that's some update on the channel. There's Sephiroth.
We're a figure review.
He looks a little better in the remake. They kind of improved a couple more polygons, but
breaking news. Activision confirms Black Ops Cold War will require 250 gigabytes of storage space.
Oh,
really?
Cool. Yeah, I got that.
Did they really
yeah, let me delete all my
Yeah.
games I got on my hard drive. But yeah, figure reviews are back. And then one other announcement for the channel. Travis came to us and said, we've got to do something for the generation. So we are going to be doing a generation awards, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Generation awards, yes.
Generation
we
awards.
We did awards of the decade.
Yeah.
Back, I don't know. Oh, at New Year's. So we did it about a year ago. And so we were thinking about it, and for that we did like our top 5 games of the decade or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, with the generation coming to a close, it's a little bit different than the decade. That's really just focused on the last 7 years. It would be fun to do a video. Basically, I got some categories put together. We could get together and we would talk through these categories, the game that sticks out to us as the winner of each category. So things such as, I can read them if I have them up. Things we will be going over, that is, most innovative, favorite trend, best style. I have a good choice for that one. Best new IP, stuff like that. Worth the wait, something that maybe took a long time to come out. Game of the generation, I think we should also do. So I got a list of categories, and when will we be doing that, Zach?
I think in the next week or so.
It'll have to be in the next week, and we should put it up right before.
This will be up before the PS5 because that's the start of the generation, baby.
Yeah.
So,
Good to be up there.
Look forward to that. I'm excited for that. I think that's it. Check out DweeBoYT on Twitter when we go live, when we're streaming, when we're putting up podcast videos, all that fun stuff. Figure reviews. Oh, it's back, baby. Oh, the new Barbie and Ken doll. Oh, we're going to get that. Travis is going to be reviewing that soon, right?
The
Travis?
hottest items are dropping.
Send them my way. I'll review the Barbies.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you for watching. This has been... It hasn't been scary enough. I've had fun on this podcast, but can you just do something scary? Can someone do something really scary?
Travis, I'm getting an EMF reading of 4 here. Are you getting freezing temperatures? What's going on here, Travis? Travis,
Hold on.
Sally Martin, are you here?
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey, my power just went out. Except only power to my
Sally Martin, are you here?
Wait, what the frig?
Sally Martin.
Who joined the call? Who is that?
Oh gosh, that really scared me.